This is the season finale of the One Piece podcast, episode 550 for Christmas Eve 2018. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And I'm cute.
That's Alex. So, on today's show, very special guest translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump. We have Stephen Paul. How's it going, Stephen?
Hey, the freshly credited Stephen Paul, right on the front page.
Why did they make your name smaller than Oda's? That seems unfair.
Yeah,
I don't get it. So we also
it's the glass ceiling.
I guess that's right. One day translators will be more important than the authors. We also have the director for Teen Titans Go and Rick and Morty. We have Brian Newton with us. How's it going, Brian?
It's going all right. Nothing really too important going on at Rick and Morty Studios currently.
Ooh. I don't know if I should read into that. We also have, last but certainly not least, Anime News Network reporter and our anime recap host. We have Sam Leach. How's it going, Sam?
Reporter.
What do you call it? Reviewer.
Freshly Rotten Tomatoes approved, so it's like getting my letter to Hogwarts.
Professional critic.
Wait, do you get an owl with that then?
Not yet. I think that one comes later.
Okay. So this is our last episode of the year, and as such, we're going to go through our favorite moments of the year, our favorite episode titles, and a lot more a little bit later. But first, we're going to go through Jump Festa, the latest manga chapter, which, if you haven't heard, is available for free to everyone in the regions where it's available. That is on shonenjump.com or viz.com/shonenjump. And that is chapter 928, introducing Komurosaki the Oiran, which, did I pronounce that okay?
You did it.
Oh, I did it. Okay, we got that first, so we could probably end right here. Now, we also have maybe anime recaps, but if not, those will be back in our next episode. We also have Piece Together and more. We will be back next week with our Dressrosa Part 2 One Piece Readthrough episode, which I did with Brian here, Alex, and Ed and Steve, and Steven.
Which you've already heard if you're on our Patreon at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast.
Ed, you're such a better salesman than me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is available now if you are a patron. And last but not least, we will be back with our regularly scheduled episode on Sunday, January 6th. All episodes will now be on Sundays. So that is, that's new. So you can check that out. You guys ready to get into the episode?
All right.
Let's do it.
This is the news segment, and today we're going to be talking about Jump Festa. Steven, you want to start taking it away?
Oh boy. Yeah, let's see where.
You don't have to sound so
start.
excited. Well, first off, for people who don't know, Jump Festa happened December 22nd through 23rd. It is a convention for Shonen Jump, essentially, and Shonen Jump series. And traditionally, it is where Oda has appeared or made statements that have been big sometimes, and sometimes not so big.
Yeah, I think the English speaking, territory in general had some pretty good representation there. Obviously, Greg was there and was doing a ton of tweeting along with lots of pictures of, the figures and advanced stuff like that they had on display. That was a lot of fun to see his report.
The official social media is just so much better, especially this year compared to any previous year. I mean, we used to have, it was an effort to get Greg in the stage show and even just tell us what happened.
Yeah. No, this is the first year I think they streamed it on Nico Nico Doga, right?
Yeah, apparently. I did not watch that myself. In fact, I was out. I was driving when the One Piece stage was happening. So I got home and I was like, oh yeah, that was happening right now. And then I, checked Twitter and read everything that Greg was posting. He was there. A couple of the Shonen Jump folks were there, and I guess like the first day, Greg was kind of making the rounds of the exhibits, and he was posting a bunch of pictures of the figures that are coming up, and so on. Like, was there anything that you guys saw that looked particularly cool?
Well, he posted. I don't know if he posted it, but I did see some pictures of the original. Oda's original art.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, those look really good.
Which one? Yeah, what was the scene again?
Well, when Kaido shows up as a dragon, I think
That's
is
right.
one of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't they also have like all the color spreads on display? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think they
Yeah,
had,
I think that's.
And the Vivre card display they had, I know. They look cool.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people got like their Vivre card signed by voice actors and actresses. It's a smart idea, like a good use of those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The Gear 4, what do you call it?
Yeah, I was
figures
gonna say.
were really cool.
Yeah, they had a couple of those of I guess like Snake, or he has like some Bounce Man, I think maybe.
Well,
but then
Bounce Man came out a year or two ago. Snake Man.
Yeah, but they have like a classic, I guess a more classic pose, and then they had like the action one where his arm is actually you know doing the like bouncing around his body thing, which looked pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's the Figure Art Zero. The other one was the POP, which actually looks really good. I know Greg has issues with the POPs because they're usually in pretty static and really not too dynamic poses, but he did post a couple really neat POPs, like the Jinbei and Zoro and Hancock.
Those specifically and even the Hancock, those are called the POP maximum line. There's also a Whitebeard. And they're usually larger and more, and Katakuri is coming out in that form as well.
Yeah, those look gigantic and unaffordable.
Some really cool ones. I really liked. It's not the really flashy like attention grabbing ones, but there was one in particular that Greg posted from the band Presto. That is, they look like they're about Nendoroid size and like proportions, but it's all of the characters from the Zodiac spread. So it's like the one where Carrot is biting Luffy's ear, and there's like Khalifa in her like bubble sheep form and all that. But they're like these little chibi versions of them, and they're super cute, and they've got the whole set. And I was like, oh man, that looks really cool.
Yeah, I'm going through the cosplay he saw there too, as I'm like going through this, and it's always like exceptionally good there. I know they take things to a whole different level. Embodying the characters that they. I
enjoyed the classic Marine Admirals on the chair.
Yeah.
Oh, I think they showcased the Hina POP, which I would have liked if it weren't so top heavy.
No, I was going to say the one where
I take that back.
She's got an even more push up than usual.
Yeah.
No, considering the other female POPs they showed remarkable strength.
Yeah, no, I've seen the Bathing Beauty ones, and they're.
I'm just glad to have a female character with her fucking clothes on again.
I'm into that.
Yeah, comparatively speaking, it looks good next to the Sengoku and Garp ones, though. Like just sort of like the Marine brain trust looking badass. It's cool.
Oh, I think Greg also posted his impressions on World Seeker.
Yeah, he did. He talked about that. We're basically just all quoting from Greg's Twitter feed. So the usual caveat: go just look at Ochimusha 108 if you want to see the source of all the stuff we're talking about. I'm like scrolling through it here. I really liked. There was the what do they call it? Yeah, the World Figure Coliseum, which is the thing they do where they have people kind of like send in their own their own takes on so they're like contest winners or something like that. And so you had a couple pics of there was a Don Krieg figure of him with the guns out. Yep. That looked pretty cool. And then there was one. It was from a guy from the Philippines who did a like Jinbei action pose, and it's like a super realistic looking one too, like because he's got his shirt off and he's just got like the rippling like like big bulging chest muscles, and like there's tons of musculature on his torso that looks pretty awesome.
Yeah, it looks like a life drawing. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I think the two picks that won were the God Usopp from Dressrosa, and the Luffy with the umbrella and the kimono.
Yeah, the casa.
Yeah, I like those as well. So anything else with
Let's see with that stuff. I don't know if there's anything else really notable before we get into the stage show stuff. And he said, or he expected, and it turned out to be pretty much true, that the stage show this year was kind of all Toei, because in 2019 is going to be their 20th anniversary, and that's what Stampede, the new movie, is going to be celebrating. And so there wasn't a whole lot of I guess manga specific stuff. They always have the voice actors out to do a bunch of joking around and having fun with them, and so on. There was one. What was it? It was really good. They were kind of going through memories, like just reflecting back on old stuff. And there was something that Greg said. So apparently Arlong's voice, his character's voice, came from the voice actor being hungover. He was drinking with Yao, and they drank too much. At the climax of the battle, at his coolest, he was completely hungover, and it sounded amazing.
That's amazing. Drunk Arlong.
Yeah, well, the hungover. It's the angry, like, oh, why did you even come here?
Yeah.
The headache.
Who's the voice of Arlong again?
Yeah, I forget. Greg did not include it in the tweet, so.
Let's see here. That would be Joruta Kosugi.
Okay, Kosugi. All right. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Obviously, they did not, talk about like any concrete information about the movie itself, or like the plot. Although they did do a little bit more hyping it up, which I'll get to in a moment. Let's see, what else did he say? They were plugging the merch stuff. The One Piece magazine volume 5, which is coming out in January, I believe, is going to have Zoro's bounty poster in it.
Yes.
So that's cool. Apparently they revealed the cover, although I have not seen it yet. Yeah, that's true. They apparently they did. So we're not really going to get too deep into it, but they did tease an advance page from the next chapter, which I have not seen yet. So I was kind of joking, like, dude, what the hell? Like, I haven't even seen this yet, and you're showing the entire world? Like, that's not how it's supposed to go. We'll save that for when the chapter actually comes out. But that was a nice little bonus for the people who were there. And then they did have Oda's usual comment, which he wrote out, and in fact, it was kind of extraordinary. This is an example of how open they were about information from Jump Festa, that the official One Piece Twitter account, the @Eiichiro_staff, which is where they post the messages from the editors mostly, and whenever Oda has something, they will pass it along. And so they put up his message, which as usual is like his handwritten one, but they also included both English and French translations, which is really nice, and probably most people have seen them already. But I was reading over it, and I was like, yeah, this English is it's just a little awkward. It's a little wonky. So I figured I would just look at the Japanese, and I'll read it off for you.
I'd assume the French is from Hattori too, right?
That's probably, yeah. That's why I was like, I wonder if he wrote like both of these or something. So Oda's message is so to everyone who is visiting Jump Festa, are you enjoying yourselves? I am Eiichiro Oda Sensei. Hello. So let's talk about next year. Next year is going to be a super year because it's the 20th anniversary of the One Piece TV series. How many how many anime series in the world continue for 20 whole years? That is amazing. All I can do is think. I have nothing but gratitude for Fuji Television and Toei Animation. From our side, we have to make sure that this is a year that expresses our gratitude towards all the fans who have made this possible throughout the years. Now, you may have heard this already, but in 2019, we are going to do a movie, and the title is Stampede. Whoa, it's cool. Gosh, I want to see it already. And it's about something I can't tell you yet. But I will tell you this. It is a movie that we can only do because it's the 20th anniversary. I would not let them make a movie like this unless it was for something like the 20th anniversary, because it's got to be good. So I said several times during the planning stages, I said to them, "Are you trying to end One Piece?" But then I said, let's do it anyways, because it's a celebration and you are going to go to the theater to see this. So get excited, sit tight, wait for that to come, and enjoy the celebration of 20 years of the anime. Now, as for the manga, it is full steam ahead, or it's kicking ass right now. We are going to in Wano. We are going to delve into the life of Kozuki Oden and get to the core of a really big story. And in the meanwhile, something huge is happening at the Reverie. As well, the overseas drama version of One Piece, the live action, is making progress. So between the anime and the movie and the manga and the live action, next year is going to be crazy. So get hyped! December 2018, Eiichiro Oda. So there you go. That's the words from the man himself.
Oda, the hype man.
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, not a ton new there.
Yeah. I mean, you could expect that we were probably going to get, at least as far as the manga is concerned, we were going to get into Oden's backstory and learn more about Wano as well. And I think it was a surprise to some people. It was not a surprise to me that, more was going to come out of the Reverie. That seemed like a given, but it's nice to see that he's hyping it up, that it should be something good, I think. I don't know. Is any other anything else from that you guys took away?
The fact that the movie's going to cover something that he would not normally be comfortable with it covering is interesting.
I'm not sure what that means.
It makes me think that it I don't want to use the word interferes, but intermingles with the canon of One Piece in some way, or because I feel like that's what would make him uncomfortable normally.
Shiki was in the manga as well, to an extent.
Yeah, I'd say that's like the closest to something like that happening in the past. But
that was like he decided, like, okay, this is going to be the villain, so let me throw in a little like cameo mention of him in the manga. I'm wondering if it's like something like, oh, we're gonna bring back like a bunch, not to be the main villains, but like what if like a bunch of old villains appeared in this movie or something like that?
Or what if we killed off Captain Kuro or something very weird like that?
Something exciting, something fun.
That would be exciting and fun, I think.
Yeah.
Anyone else have what do you call them? Opinions?
Yeah, I wondered if they're gonna kill off like Zoro's dead and now they have to avenge his death or something stupid, or but yeah, my first thought I guess was bringing back villains, or even like I don't know, something similar to what the video games do, in that like you picked up an orb and now this villain is here, or something like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that would be.
That's just
a possibility.
Complete fan service.
Oh yeah, for sure. But hey, that's what it's 20 years of One Piece. I think we have to kind of keep that in mind as far as like what the potential for this movie is, that it could just be a fan service overload, which I'm okay with. But
I think everyone here would be okay with just like the fan service, the movie, and fan service in the traditional sense. But I could see that happening. I feel like that wouldn't be a good what do you call mainstream kind of way to get into One Piece, which I guess Gold was more of a attempt to do. So maybe they're backtracking a little bit.
Right. Well, you also have to figure this past year I think was the 20th anniversary of the Pokemon animation, and they did a 20th anniversary movie, which is basically a retelling of the first season of the anime, but with I guess some major differences. So
was that the one where Pikachu talked?
Yeah.
Everybody freaked out.
That's right. Yeah. So I figure that maybe it's sort of like a weird retelling of the series up until now, but in a
Chopper
weird, grittier way.
Now. It's the same voice actress, right?
Yeah.
Chopper suddenly talks. Yeah.
Maybe Chopper will look like he did before the time skip. Yeah.
Or I was going to say it's like the opposite effect where Chopper just says his name over and over.
Yeah.
Chopper. Or more likely,
they finally converged that Chopper has finally turned into a Pokemon the way that he's been going over the course of the series.
Or maybe it's just that Chopper will finally have different voices for all his different transformations, just like 4Kids had determined back in 2004.
Oh, that was one of the worst.
Okay, I think is that everything from Jump Festa? Did you mention the was it World Seeker game stuff too?
Greg had some thoughts about that, which were kind of in depth about like, oh, this is the way it controls, and this is how this is what I felt about this or that. It was kind of in depth, hands-on impressions. So, you can scroll back and find where he where he that stuff. But it sounded tentatively positive, I think, or at the very least, he wasn't going to sit there and trash it. So I guess we can look forward to that. It was a very anime centric Jump Festa. I feel like not just for One Piece, but like they were hyping up the Promised Neverland because that's starting pretty soon, and We Never Learn I think is getting it, and then they announced new seasons of My Hero, obviously, and Haikyuu is coming back, and just a bunch of stuff going on for Jump in the TV realm. But I think that about does it for Jump Festa.
Yeah. So why don't we get into some free manga right now?
Yes.
This is the manga recap for chapter 928, introducing Komurasaki the Oiran. Ed.
Yes, it's on the cover this week we have the kids watching the hero stage show Love Frankie.
They sure do.
They do. They're bears with a rabbit overlord, it seems.
They're all like also dark animals as well.
Mm-hmm. There's a.
Let's see, here's a question.
They're specifically mink children.
Oh gosh, yeah, some of them are. Oh no, they all are.
Yeah, I think they're on.
I totally didn't notice that.
So,
So Steven, what does the kanji on Frankie's shirt say?
That says iron. He's the Iron Man. He's the cyborg. Although I to be honest, okay. So what are our guesses? Obviously, the thing that he is covering up is iron something, but I can't tell. It looks like the last letter is an R, probably.
Yeah, that looks like an R.
It's the ironer. He presses your shirts and cleans your pants.
Yeah. He cleans up the town, apparently.
He cleans up the town from wrinkles in society. I have no idea.
Yeah, that's if only he had given us another letter. I feel like with all the English that Oda uses but covers up, it's almost like playing Wheel of Fortune.
I feel like it. It's a way just to get out of writing a full word that he's afraid that might not be spelled correctly.
Partly, yeah, that might be the case. But partly, especially if you're an English speaker, you understand what you can cover up and what you can get away with. I don't think I understands that.
Oh, maybe it's Iron Star, but I don't think there's enough room for it.
Well, he doesn't.
Yeah, that's a good guess.
It's a star on her shirt. So.
Yeah.
And there's a star in the logo.
I'm upset he's not Iron Man, but I guess that one's taken. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah.
That sounds like a no. Yeah.
Fire Yamamoto requested this.
You think it's... No, never mind. That's, what's his name? What's Usopp's voice actor's name? That's,
Kape.
Yamaguchi. That's not even close. Okay. Yep. Ed, you want to start the chapter?
Sure. Back in Udon, Wano. Back in the plants. No slacking off. And yesterday felt good, didn't it? All the cells are buzzing over what those two fellas did. Hush, they'll hear you. All these are like they're alternating like thought bubbles and speech bubbles. People aren't being quiet. And someone asks, "Hey, Straw Hat fellow, what family are you with, huh?" And says, shut up, Straw Hat gentleman. And Luffy he continues to work. He's not really paying attention.
Hey everyone, an old man is talking.
Yes. Old man Hyo, as a matter of fact. I must express my true and unvarnished gratitude for the heroic way that you rescued my humble and unworthy hide. And someone else off panel comments, "Lucky you, old man Hyo. Not that you've got long to live anyway." Luffy.
People are not nice about his mortality.
No. Well, I mean, look at him.
He's a beautiful man, Ed. What are you talking about?
Ed is not nice about his mortality either.
Ed is a blunt man.
Luffy tells him, "Hey, don't sweat it. I had business with him anyway." And he hands him, "Here, have these. A bunch of food exchange tickets. You can't work on an empty stomach." And even if they find out, Luffy's okay with these. He says, "I will treasure these."
That shot's really cool because it's kind of from Old Man Hyo's perspective, like a POV shot.
Mm-hmm. And he walks off thinking, "Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir." And Luffy's amused. Yeah, funny guy. And out of nowhere comes Raizo, Sir Luffy, and he's got his bandit hood on over his nose.
I like it's literally a poof. He like the smoke comes away as he arrives there.
Aha. Yes, Raizo. How did it go? And he apologizes for the delay. He found the key to the cuffs, but it is closely watched. Not only is there a guard, it's kept in a box of sea prism stone. He will get the key, but it will take time.
I like that he's committing to being undercover too, because he's got the pickaxe. To pretend like he's working next to Luffy.
I love how Luffy's spirit hasn't diminished even after being imprisoned like this. Like, he's so happy-go-lucky, and I love how he seems to actually be going along with this plan. Like, this is the most cooperative Luffy's ever been in terms of, a plan working out, I think.
I wonder too, like if he's, if his mood is better, or if he's optimistic about, like the state of things, particularly with the crew, because he saw the castle getting blown up, and that was why he attacked Kaido. If like whether it's that he just assumes like, oh, okay, well they're probably all right. Or if it was like, Raizo or someone like that coming in and saying like, hey, Luffy, we're going to try to get you out. Everybody's okay, sort of thing that set him at ease first before he did all this stuff. Because I don't know, it seems kind of extraordinary if he just assumed that they were all, if not killed, then like super damaged by that. And then he's just like, yeah, I'm going to bust out, like, hey, help an old man and biding my time and being happy-go-lucky.
Yeah, I assume Raizo told them because I think what was it? The crew had said like they sent Raizo to break him out.
Right.
Yeah, so I assume there had been some telephone played there.
Mm-hmm.
I just realized something. I don't think we ever saw what the Straw Hat saw in the newspaper, or if it was indeed that important. But it was, I guess, that Kaido beat Luffy. Was that?
I thought
Yeah.
that's what it was.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it was,
that's what it was.
yeah.
Because it was, they put Luffy's picture in there.
Yeah.
And so that's probably, they're like, oh my God, what did he do this time? And speaking of characters who you think, oh God, what did they do this time? Here is wet-haired Caribou. He's not content with just a little, small panel cameo in the crowd scene. He's inserted himself into the story as he sidles up to Luffy as he senses the meal ticket. The meal ticket train is in town. He's, spare ticket for me too. Millet dumplings for the needy. And Luffy is annoyed at Caribou. He's even, I think there's some clever sound effects doubling here where it sounds like he's hitting the stone, but he's also his vein is snapping there. Ka-ching! I'm not giving you anything. Work for it. And Raizo smartly poofs away. Poofs back into a cloud and vanishes. Caribou apparently does not notice at all. But
to be fair, he is an idiot. So,
yeah, he is an idiot. Yeah. We get a full body shot of him with the cuffs on and everything. Wet-haired Caribou, bounty 210 million berries. I did not care enough to check to see if that was different.
It's the same.
It's the same. Okay. And he says that apparently they designed the Sea Prism stone cuffs to have a mild effect, so that you can work with them on. So they're not, spicy flavor. It's more like Cool Ranch, Sea Prism stone cuffs. But even still, Caribou can barely move. I'll be your henchman if you give me some dumplings, and I've been here a lot longer than you, so I know things. And we get a little Caribou refresher, which is refreshing in its brevity. It just says, a 9-digit bounty rookie who entered the New World not long ago. He attempted to take down Luffy in the past, but failed.
I love that little box.
I've been here a lot longer than you, and he entered the New World not long ago. Yeah, he's been in there since his cover story.
Since Tuesday, man.
I like how he attempted to take down Luffy but failed. Is just something you could copy paste on a lot of villains.
Yeah. And so he is literally just like rubbing up on Luffy like an affectionate cat here. You're trying to fly the coop, eh? Come on, take me along. I'll do anything for you, pal. If you and me team up, nobody can stop us. And Luffy says, well, if you want to team up with somebody, just team up with Jaggy, referring to Kid, of course. And Caribou says, no, trust me. His reputation's in tatters now. He tried to mess with Big Mom and got his arm ripped off, and he had to flee in disgrace from what the rumors say. And then someone here, I'm not actually sure if this is Luffy or Kid. I think it's probably Kid, who says, rumors? Why are you wasting your time with that crap?
That's definitely Luffy.
I think that's Kid.
Because Kid doesn't show up until that second line.
Yeah, but that might be him walking in. Yeah,
but he's also not in that panel.
But then,
I don't can't really see everything.
But then the pickaxe slams into the stone right in front of Caribou, and there he is, Kid, with his one arm, his one half arm bandaged up, and he says, I've never tried to go after Big Mom. All he did was wound one of her generals and take what I meant to take. And there he is. And that's an interesting comment, because we know that who was it? Rouge was the one who had beaten Snack before we saw them.
This is a callback. So at the end of Fishman Island, Baron Tamago is in order, because when Luffy's offering them the treasure and Mom's like, I don't want treasure, I want sweets. Baron Tamago's like, hey, listen, Mom, that Eustace Kid guy just blew up 2 of our ships recently, so we need the money.
That's true.
The question is, what did he mean to take?
And who did he wound?
Yeah, which one? I don't know, because it didn't seem like the general, the Sweet 3 that we saw were like, depicted as being
could have been Snack.
Cracker has this facial scar.
Yeah, Cracker has a scar.
But like, doesn't Cracker comment that nobody's seen his true appearance or something?
Yeah.
Who the hell knows?
So,
maybe the wound healed. They do that sometimes.
Maybe a kid took down one of the Cracker doppelganger bodies and thought that was it.
Very likely.
Doesn't explain the scar though that Cracker has on his face.
Well, I think doesn't the Cracker doppelganger also have a scar?
Everybody in One Piece has a scar. But Kid continues, I lost my arm here in a battle with the red hair pirates before all of that. Any other questions you need cleared up? And Caribou says, no!
But he's wrong, we do.
And Caribou is just trying to like stay out of this, but then Kid and Luffy, they're like rival pets. They just like as soon as they're within range of each other, they're just growling at each other. And he's like, let me be clear, the one who gets famous for destroying Kaido will be me. And Luffy says, no, it'll be me. So yeah, you can see they're getting along great.
This is like that shot. This is like that volume cover. I was going to say Luffy, Capone, and Caesar.
No, it's also like the volume cover with Sakazuki and Fujitora. That's what pops to my brain. Yeah, so I hope that there's a copy cover of just that. Anyway, go ahead.
So two things. Two things. One, I think it's really interesting that we hear about like a rumor versus something else that happened, because normally in the One Piece world, just news travels versus untrue rumors or speculation, and I think that's pretty interesting. And two, so he lost his left arm in a battle with the red hair pirates. Which arm did Shanks lose?
It would have to be his left.
That was his left, yeah.
Yeah. So, and I just remembered what Shanks said to Whitebeard about losing his arm. I bet it on the future or something, right? Mm-hmm. He's like, hey, what happened to your arm? He's like, oh, I bet it on the future, something to that effect. So I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about Kid's left arm, and also Law's arm that got cut off, but then got stitched on. Uh-huh. Which arm was that?
I think it was his left too.
And it was left too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so I don't know.
That's kind of the pattern of like whenever somebody has an accessory or a scar or something, it's always on the left.
Well, Oda's a lefty too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a thing that artists do that most people don't notice, that you tend to favor the side that you're like your dominant side. So the fact that so many characters have so many like left-sided either accessories or scars, etc. I think that's just Oda's doing it, but not realizing he's doing it for that reason.
Well, first of all, Law lost his right arm.
Oh, okay. Well, there
but Law doesn't count. Yeah.
But I mean, like I feel like Oda's even mentioned that. He's like, oh yeah, well, like I always try to put it on the left, with only a couple exceptions.
I guess I was just connecting dots that weren't there.
I wonder if it has anything to do, like just subconsciously, if there's something to do with the fact that manga does read right to left. So if you have, the eye travels left across the page. So if you have a character, like Caribou here, he's looking left at Luffy because that's the flow of the dialogue. So if you're used to, showing off characters and they're sort of facing the flow of, the comic book, that their left arm is going to be in front, and that makes it easier to show off. If you're going to pick a one,
is that true that Oda's left-handed?
Yeah,
I didn't know.
So.
I had not heard that.
I thought he was.
I hadn't heard that, but
I've heard that a long time ago.
Yeah, I don't remember the source.
I would believe it.
Strikes me as a lefty, but that's just this total conjecture.
Yeah, I mean, there are videos of him drawing, so we could go back and look. I'm pretty sure he's left-handed though. Not positive. There was one thing I did want to mention. Maybe Shanks cut off Kid's arm and then took it as his own. No.
Nice.
Okay.
Look, Shanks might be more messed up than we realize because he is an emperor.
He might be collecting left arms. We don't know that.
I mean, Law collected hearts. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility.
Especially from other redheads.
Oh my god.
Hey, maybe that's why. Why Shanks is so buddy with the five elders, because he just supplies them with left arms.
It's like finally our left arm empire will come to be. They're just making a giant Death Star, but of left arms. They're just all made of left arms.
He's like the Highlander.
but you're right.
Yeah.
They're both redheaded, so maybe just he wanted the arm hair to match. He's like, I gotta find someone who has the same hair as me.
Or maybe there's going to be a scene down the line where somebody hears about a one-armed man with red hair, and we get our hopes up. Oh, Shanks is back. Oh, wait, no, kid. It's just
I wish Oda did that now. I don't think that's going to happen anymore.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay. From one arm to a beautiful. I have no transition here. We head to the flower capital as everyone makes passage for Oiran Komurasaki, the woman whose name is as hard to pronounce as her face is hard to decipher. And here she comes. Everyone is excited, and some of them are ready, some of them are not. And Frankie, Sanji, and Usopp are preparing to lub-a-dub-dub all over whoever is coming here. This is getting weird. Anyway, she's drawing a crowd. They're looking at her down the street. Sanji is definitely prepared for whatever is about to happen to him, although he doesn't have tissues ready. And here she comes, still waiting. Okay, let's just wait.
No, she's sparkling, Zach. She's sparkling.
It's just this preparation for her making her way over just takes a very long time. Anyway, here come three random guys ready to. We haven't seen these randos before, right? No,
nope, they're brand new.
I thought they were brand new randos. Anyway, they're all ready to kill Komurasaki Oiran for some reason. One saying that they're being chased out of the capital. And that it is all over for him. The other saying he's going to die, so I might as well take her down with me. And Frankie's like, "Oh, guys, looks like trouble." And here she comes. She's slowly making her way, and as she slowly makes her way, a guy strikes down the two randos who were trying to attack Komurasaki.
Oh, they're all three. The one is flying in the air in the middle.
Yeah.
There's the third one. Sorry, I didn't see the third one.
And that guy is one of her guards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also, the way that last panel looks, it looks like it's the guy who's striking, his arm goes through the other guy almost. It's like a weird composition for the page. That's just.
You can see that.
Yeah. Anyway.
I love that panel.
Who's next here? Brian.
Yeah. And we complete it because now we have full view of his weapon. It's like a double-sided halberd. It really explains halberd. Yeah, it really explains the motion of that strike. He goes, "Stay away from the Orion." And as their bodies fall to the ground, Komurasaki, yay, I did it. She's slowly walking by with a jingle and a jangle. One of the old guys in the foreground rises up to see her. He's like wounded and shivering, going Komurasaki. And then we see a flashback that of her saying, "I have decided that I wish." Wait, I'm sorry. "I have decided that I wish to be with you." Okay, I won't do that. Take me with you. And we go. The old man responds to that, says, "What? An old skeleton like me?" And she, now we see them in silhouette in what appears to be a fairly fancy little room. And we can only assume is Komurasaki. She goes, "If I have no choice but to be Shogun Orochi's slave, then I would rather sell my freedom to you instead. But the price of my ransom is so outrageous that I know this dream shall never come to pass." And she rises up to meet him with tears streaming from her eyes. You know, we can't see her eyes at the moment. "And if the Shogun should ever hear of this conversation," and the old man stops her, goes, "No, my lady, have strength. If you wish it, then I, Bingo, shall make it come true." And she goes,
"That's his name-o."
Yeah. And then we see the exterior of this mansion that I guess this old man resides in. And Komurasaki goes, "You will? Then I am ever so happy." even if you are only saying so. Yeah, I love that. Like, ever so. Oh, I am ever so pleased.
I think that's actually like, well, it's not the brothel, but whatever you would call like the pleasure hall or something where the geisha and the Oiran live, because we see this building throughout this whole flashback.
Oh, that's what that is? Oh,
yeah.
I thought that was his place.
No.
Okay, now I'm mistaken then.
Think about this guy is he doesn't have that much money.
Yeah.
No, well, that's debatable. I do think he's fairly well off.
No.
For now.
Yeah, at the start. Yeah.
And then so we cut to another panel, and like that old man's dropping out some gold. He's like, but sir, I have never seen such riches. And he's like, this is a down payment to buy you from the pleasure hall. It's not enough yet, but I want you to have it. Yeah, that actually makes more sense because she's not coming to him. He's going to her. I got it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I missed that point
And
entirely.
there's a 4.725% interest rate.
Yeah. I thought like courtesans might be on loan, but no, it makes more sense for him to come to her and deliver this money.
Oh, by the way, the money is sort of like old Tokugawa era.
So Rio.
Yeah, Rio.
Yeah.
So they always look like, especially the way Oda draws them, they look like the bottom of sandals.
Yeah.
The queens.
But yeah, like if you're not familiar with Rios, they're kind of like oval shaped with little stitches or whatever.
Notches.
In the notches, thank you. Notches running between. They're really long, golden little like things. They're nice little stacks.
Mhm.
And then she goes, he continues like, it's not enough yet, but I want you to have it. And then Kumurasaki goes, but then I shall mark it on the ledger for you. He's like, no, don't bother. What fool of a man would mistrust the woman he loves? It is a fair trade. My goal for your word. And then I guess time passes. Nice little panel of leaves falling off a tree. And he comes with more money. He goes, here, take it. The money is yours. And then she's Kumurasaki with her hands over her face, but her eyes obscured, says, why, look how much there is. And the old man continues like, I've sold everything I own, Kumurasaki. And she goes, oh, why, I'm so lucky. And then continue, now it's snowing. So we went from fall to snow, which is winter. And the old man continues. He goes, I sold off my family. And she goes, oh, please, take care. He's like, oh, medicine, a waste of money. It means nothing to me because I can fulfill my goal. I'll be the happiest man in the entire world. And I could swear that I think he's losing teeth. He didn't have a lot before, but like maybe it's just his smile is big.
No, I think his smile's bigger.
All right, I would like the fact that his health is literally degenerating right in front of us. And then she goes again with her hand over her face, blushing and being very coy, eyes still obscure. Goes, I must admit that I passed the nights by dreaming of my future life with you. And he goes, oh, Kumurasaki, with hearts, old man.
Alex. Yeah.
Yeah. So then he's hacking up along and running towards Komurasaki, saying, I've got it at last. I had to sell the house, but now we can finally be free together. And he brandishes his last 500 gold, and he can finally, with hearts around him, buy Komurasaki's freedom. But then when he gets there, he's told that the Oran is sick today, and that she asked this caretaker to take any items that might be brought for her. So he says, "Oh my, that's dreadful. We'll give this to her. Make sure she gets a rest, and I will come back." Some time passes, and he comes back and says, I've come to get you. You're free from the pleasure district. Please come live with me. And we hear and a chorus of laughter. And they say, can you believe this love-struck old fool? And he's completely he's stymied. He says, oh, Dad, that's enough laughing. Go fetch her. It's time for Komurasaki to come live with me, he says. And these guys say, are you crazy? We'll need to see a little bit more money than that. Haven't you got the money to buy out her contract? And he says, oh, of course I do. She's got it. I gave it to her over the course of time. And Komurasaki comes out and notices the commotion that's going on and says, "Oh, it's Bingo. He's here." And then Bingo says, "Oh, Kurosaki, thank God, you gotta tell them. They don't know about the two of us." And then she says, "Oh, well, you said money. That money was all for me, didn't you?" And we go into the next page.
Yeah, we turn the page. This old man is he's not really processing what she's saying, and she's smoking on her pipe thing. And I've already spent it all, but thank you. And then the chorus of laughter continues. Pwa ha ha ha! I can't believe this geezer actually thought Komurasaki was in love with him. And then we see the profile of one Kiyoshiro kind of watching off to the side. This old man he's crying now. He's trying to understand what's going on. Who's that bag of bones? Komurasaki. And the old man recognizes Boss Kiyoshiro. And Kiyoshiro is very menacing looking. So you're the old man who's been hanging around Komurasaki these days, eh? Hanging around? No, tell me this is a joke, Komurasaki. The sacrifices I've made, I gave up everything. I have nothing left. I lost everything, all for you. More laughing. More crying. How many of these fellows has it been now? One of the thugs is cracking his knuckles, getting ready to kick this old man out. We can't have you crying out front. It's bad for business. That's all for now. And then get lost, you love-addled fart. And then they're beating him up. He's heaping. He's, stop. I'm leaving. And then we transition back into the present. The old man bowing or on his knees at Komurasaki's feet. He's still crying. He's coughing. Oh, Komurasaki. And Komurasaki walks on by.
And then we finally get a shot of Komurasaki's features, her face, and she is a cutie. One thing I'd like to point out is just...
Is that Robin?
Yeah. I've heard several Robin comparisons, but I'll point out
here's
that
the thing.
She's got a different nose. Just
well,
slow.
yeah,
nose,
eyes,
eyebrows,
lips.
I think, are the most important thing. Because usually Oda does very thin eye lines, but now she has like pronounced eyebrows. That could also be attributed to the makeup along with her lips, which is again also more pronounced. The eyelashes are also very pronounced too. So everything that would accentuate what a woman would put on, or a geisha in this case would put on to accentuate their beauty, like eyes, eyebrows, eyelashes, and lips. He went out of his way to give her prominent features that he normally doesn't do with his female characters, which kind of makes her look like Betty Boop to me half the time. But I'm trying to figure out who else she's also trying to favor. And then we see a full shot of her and with her processional, which she's like on these giant platforms that she's walking on.
Yes, what are those indeed?
Those are bloody shoes.
Yeah. And Oda's title box reads, "Greatest courtesan of Wano, Komurasaki the Oran." And then everyone's like, "Oh, make way for the passage of Oran, Komurasaki." It's like, look over here, Oran. And then we have like women and men cheering in the crowd. Of course, Sanji predictably with his tongue out and like eyes are a heart. He's like, what a babe. And then Frankie also is like, whoa. And then we saw pulls down his goggles with his frog on his hat. He was talking about Glitzy. He's like, she's so shiny.
I love the little the tiny little blushes on Frankie's cheeks. That's cute.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Frankie knows what's up. Yeah. And then a woman in the crowd's like, "Oh, she's so gorgeous," as she's about to pass out. And one old guy's like, "Oh, my eyes, I'm blinded. She blinded me with science." And then we have Otama. Is that no?
Toko.
Otoko. Yeah, Otoko like, smiling as the crowd like goes crazy for her. And then we kind of get a 2-panel detail of how Komurasaki's supposed to walk in those giant platforms by like dragging one and then placing in front of the other. I don't know if that's specific to a sort of like a courtesan culture, that there's a way that they're supposed to walk and carry themselves.
Well, they do have high thick heels, soles like this, but I mean, obviously,
not this
yeah,
exaggerated,
super exaggerated. But they do have like, I don't know, it's probably like 6-inch, like platform style sandals that they wear traditionally.
I do like the detail of like she has to hold on to this dude's shoulder to stay balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which she's like, and she's like a normally sized person, even though we've seen giants, like not giants, but like large people in Wano. But she seems like she'd be that high, but she's not really because of those platforms. She's like,
I liked that reveal because we were all wondering. Everybody was wondering, like, man, she looks really tall in the previous chapter,
which isn't unusual with like Kiku running around.
And then it turns out, like, oh no, she's just wearing like 2 foot tall shoes.
Looks like a giraffe or something.
Yeah.
And then two of the old men who were beaten before finally rise up and was like, Kumurasaki. And then one of them, the heavier set one, goes like, I sold out my house, my family, my everything. Give it all back. The money, give it back to me, you thief. And then Kumurasaki has a line. She's like, return what you gave me? A request from only the lowest of the low. To me, a man is nothing more than a dog that fetches me with riches. If you have none, you are nothing to me. And as these old men kind of like she's not even acknowledging them. She's saying this without looking back at them, which is cold-blooded.
Yeah. I love to, before you move on, I love the contrast in that the big shot of them, the procession walking by, where you can see there's, Otoko's there with whatever it is that she's carrying, the little envelope. And then there's like another Kamuro who's clearly older, who looks normal. And you can really tell like just how crazy exaggerated Otoko's design is. It's amazing. It looks like a car, like Who Framed Roger Rabbit or something like that. Like here's a human and here's a cartoon.
Yeah, it's like walking down next to her.
Yeah.
And looks just as annoyed as a human would look if a cartoon were walking next to them. It's like, oh, I have to be next to this person.
Yeah. Well, she was late too, so I imagine that also didn't curry any favor.
She's like the annoying little one.
Did we talk about what Komodosaki is wearing here? Or Brian, did you mention that?
No, not really. So she's got
very
a
detailed.
very ornate detailed headdress with a peacock on the robe that she's propping up, and you can see it. I can't wait to see this character in color, for sure.
Yeah.
But also something I noticed, and I had to like look it up to confirm, her specific headdress and even the details on her gown. We've actually seen before, and I think it is the same headdress and gown that the I'm not going to say this right, shamisen
player,
the shamisen player who wears the fox mask. It seems identical. And I mean the headdresses are very common. Like there's even a couple women who have very similar headdresses, but the gown is also the same. So just check out those details. If
interesting.
Tell me if I'm crazy or not.
All right. Well, yeah, we'll get to that again in a second because meanwhile, as we said, she's walking past these guys and ignoring them, and then she turns back to look as she covers up her part of her face with the fan, and she says, "I only have scorn for the poor man," and they're all just weeping tears of frustration and anger,
devastating.
And then here comes the cops. You can tell because he's got the jute, and he says, "There's no escape for you now. There's no place in the flower capital for those who cannot buoy the economy. In the name of Shogun Orochi, you are banished from the city." And
is this that Abenomics I'm hearing so much about?
Yeah, this is they're throwing him into debtor's prison. And they're like, "No, please live life outside the capital. It's humane. Humans can't live that way." So you really get a sense. These guys may be down on their luck, but you really get a sense of their particular class consciousness. That a life outside the capital is not one for a human being. Damn you to hell, Komurasaki! And then we get a long shot of the gates leading to Shogun Orochi's palace.
Open the gates!
Open the gates. She has arrived. And meanwhile,
wait, before you go to meanwhile,
back.
I just want to touch on what Brian was saying before about. So I'm looking at the Shamisen player from chapter 925. It's a lot easier to look back at these with the new archive, but so it looks, the hair is the same and everything above the peacock looks the same, but
right, because the peacock part is the lower part of it, so we don't really get a full shot of the Shamisen player.
Yeah, so
right, yeah.
But it is very similar. Yeah, I mean, it's admittedly extremely similar looking. Yeah.
Same kimono, actually.
Yeah,
I'm putting my money on that.
Yes, same kimono. I think her sash is just different.
Maybe she has a fruit where she could turn the world into some sort of play. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think we were saying either in the manga recap or in the piece together at some point in the last few episodes that wouldn't it be interesting if that was, Momonosuke's sister, Hiyori, being the woman in the fox mask. Meanwhile, in Amigasa Village, the first location that we ever saw in Wano, where Otama lives with Master Hitetsu, we see Momonosuke is doing his kendo practice here with his shinai, his bamboo sword. He's whacking on the well. And Otama is there, and she's like, "Oh, you got a little sister, Momo? I wonder why Oda chose to juxtapose that line with what we just saw." Yeah. And Momonosuke is like, that is a rude form of address, Tama, which in the original Japanese she just calls him Momo-kun. And he's like, "Who do you think I am?" She's like, "Momo." And he's like, "Oh, forget it. Yes, I have a sister. If alive, she would be 26 years old now." And while some, he continues, while some did witness my mother's death, no one has yet been able to tell me that Hiyori is dead. So I happen to have faith that she is still alive somewhere. And Otama is sweet. "Oh, well, I hope you get to meet her." And he says, "I will not. If Hiyori's identity is known, Orochi will set his sights on her. I cannot go to find her until the battle is won." Bang. That is it.
So I love how the juxtaposition of that speech bubble, like, she's alive somewhere, and it's Tama, but then you have Komurasaki on the other page. It's just like, who is it?
Like that's not even foreshadowing. That's just like in filmic language. They're telling us what's going to happen here.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's also like, it's almost like Oda's making fun of us too. I feel like.
Yeah, that's how I've read it. Yeah.
Did anyone else
notice
he's
just trying to be a little straightforward?
There's also chrysanthemum in her hair, which is interesting.
Yes, that is true.
In Komurasaki or Hiyori.
Yes,
Hiyori, whatever.
Yeah, Komurasaki has a chrysanthemum in her hair. It's a symbol of the Japanese imperial family.
Yes, we've discussed this before too. So let's go through thoughts on the chapter. Sam.
Yeah, I really like this chapter quite a lot. Like, Komurasaki is in an interesting place because it's like so many of Oda's like usual traits are being very apparent. I get that, like, it's in an arc where we have like Robin and Okiku already. He's not mixing it up like a whole lot.
A lot of black-haired characters.
Well, black-haired, just like normal-looking pretty women without like any particularly distinctive features. And the fact that she's like this evil woman who is I think probably going to turn out to be Hiyori. It's like evil woman who doesn't get to stay evil in the story.
I mean, Boa Hancock.
Boa Hancock.
Nico Robin.
Also, the huge long entrance that Boa. I think Boa had a lot of like, "Oh my God, it's Boa Hancock."
Yeah. Violet.
Yeah. Violet is a good example too. Yeah, there's a lot of those.
Yeah. I'm not expecting like a swerve on that. Like, I think that's probably how that's going to go. Although it won't be just like Sanji who sees through her. I think it'll be like the power of family or whatever. But she's in an interesting place because, like, I get the feeling that she and Kiyoshiro, I think they're trying to grift Orochi. Like, I don't think they're working for him so much. I think this is going to be. I think we are going to kind of learn some sort of tragic story that brought those two characters together, and And compared to Orochi, we're gonna find their story much more sympathetic.
So you're in on Orochi kind of being a putz then, you know?
Oh, yeah, I mean, Orochi's gonna suck.
Without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I just love this little vignette here of this story of Komurasaki like ripping off these men. Like
Which is apparently a trope in Edo period or period films, as Joey said on Twitter.
Yeah, and that's what Wano like. I think the thing that makes Wano interesting is also the thing that I think makes it a little dry at times, which is that it is it feels like Oda is very much trying to make like his own kind of classic. A lot of things, a kabuki play, a samurai film, like this sequence feels very like crime drama-y. We've got a prison film basically. So I'm interested in seeing how those pieces fit, because Komurasaki is not. She's not being presented as like a very nice person, and her whole deal is that she's like putting on airs. Like a peacock's whole thing is that it's like trying to show off. And here she's got the sandals, she's got the glitz, and like that. While we're talking about like visual juxtaposition, like I wonder if there's like some meaning to that little panel of Otoko laughing while Komurasaki's walking on her heels. Like it almost makes me think that the surprise is going to be that Otoko is actually kind of a jerk or something. But I don't know. Like it'll be interesting to find out how, on the spectrum of like the people we like, the heroes of the story and the villains of the story, Komurasaki is clearly somewhere like in the middle, and like where's that going to go? Like, are we going to learn? Like, is she actually just like a good person putting on an act, or is the last panel of this chapter where Momonosuke is declaring, "Oh, we're not going to meet until after the battle," and then it's like, oh, tragically they do meet, and it's under like really poor circumstances where it turns out his sister is actually kind of an asshole. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of ways this could go.
Yeah.
Brian.
Kind of falling in line with Sam's speculation about Komurasaki. I definitely think it's a case where if she went like as Momo's sister, Hiyori. Hiyori? Yeah,
Hiyori. Yeah.
Hiyori. She went into hiding and basically started operating under the brothels, probably as the same role that Otoko has right now, and worked her way up to a courtesan. Probably is doing the shifty game with Kishiro to kind of like hide herself and maybe even to strike back. I have thought, because like I assume the men she's ripping off have wealth, or at least financially stable enough where she might be enacting her own kind of revenge against the people who betrayed her father,
kind of thing. That's
yeah. But robbing the rich to get to herself right now. But I think it's more of a revenge play where like maybe these men were responsible for betraying her father.
Well,
Bingo worked for
Orochi.
It looks like Bingo worked for Kiyoshiro. So that creates an interesting.
I'm not sure if that's actually true. He's just saying Oyabun like boss because it's understood that Kiyoshiro is a Yakuza boss.
Right.
Well, the question is, when he responds, is he saying, "So you're the old man who's been hanging around," or is he saying, "So you're the old man who's been hanging"?
I think it's just like he's just a patron, and the word's gotten around that she's like hanging out with another old man who frequently visits her. Yeah. And like if he's the boss of that brothel, like again, if that's the place the old man keeps going to, Bingo keeps going to, then he would understand that guy runs this place as a boss. Also, that panel where he shows up leaning out the window, it definitely reminds me of the. Because I recently saw it again a couple months ago. Yojimbo, there's a young, kind of like suave gangster guy who his main go-to is that he has the one pistol in the entire movie, so he feels like an extra badass. But he also dresses and acts like Kishiro in that one bit with his arm in his sleeve constantly, which is a trope, but it's fine. But yeah, I just assume doing a revenge play. And then, yes, she will be revealed to be a better person than we initially thought, much similar to Boa Hancock, which I'll make the other two comparisons to this is the fact that, like, both Boa Hancock's initial introduction to me, like, she's, like, hyped up as this incredibly beautiful Amazon princess. I hated her. Not because of the fact
she kicks animals.
Oh, yeah, that kicking the animals. But I think, to me, her worst offense was the way she treats even the other women of Amazon Lily. Like, when she, like, those young girls who made that, like, effigy of her, and she just threw it down because it was garbage. And, like, she has these very barbaric principles and, like, how she should be served or attended to. I'm just like, oh, come on. So at least with Kumurasaki, I think Steven mentioned it, there's like a class thing going on where she's like, I hate the poor, but I don't think she's saying I hate poor people. I think it's more like she's basically sticking it to these old guys who had wealth, lorded it, and then she just took it from them. It was like, look,
I made you poor. You're poor now. You're useless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're no better than the people in Okobari town. So where they'll go.
If that were true, do you think that there would be a point in Oda withholding the fact that they are rich? Because I don't think it's very clear.
They got money. They had enough money where he could cover whatever like her price was.
The thing is
a lot.
It's very clearly depicted that like where you live is kind of what class you are, like, because they didn't let the people from Okobori go into Bakura town and the flower capital. Like, you get kicked out if you can't keep the economy flowing. So I think it's just assumed that everyone who lives in the flower capital is pretty rich.
Right. And if you're talking about someone who could sell a house, sell a family to his family and still like cover an absurd price, it's like, all right, he clearly had money. He's just an idiot and got what he deserved.
And I mean, I'm looking from the beginning of that flashback to the end of it, and his clothes are definitely in more tatters, as it goes along. You could you can notice
when you compare his clothing to like what the Okobori people in Leftover Village, what they wear, that's very like peasant gear. Well, he's clearly has robes and he has money. And he's an old man, so he's not in the fields, which means again he has money. Just little touches like that you can pick up on. I think that's about all I have to say for this chapter. Oh, another thing is the in Udon, where the factory is that Luffy's working, I noticed that the bottom of the factory looks like it's very carved out deliberately in like blocks. I guess that's where everyone's working, which means I wonder if we'll see a flashback prior to when Kaido's and Orochi set up shop, that we'll see this land before they start like mining it.
Well, there's also the whole environmental angle.
Yeah, quarry,
yeah. Steven.
I guess I don't really have anything to add as far as like the which way will she turn, or which is this really as obvious as Oda is making it that that Komurasaki is Momonosuke's sister. There's obviously a lot of fun drama getting set up there. Otherwise, this chapter was I don't know if you guys noticed or felt this, but I can tell you, based on data, that this was one of the longest scripts that I've ever had for a normal sized chapter. It was a very, very text dense chapter, and obviously
it took me like a few minutes. Like normally a One Piece chapter takes like 9-10 minutes to read. This one took easily like 15 to 20.
Yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff that goes on, and obviously the bulk of it is being spent on this. This is essentially just like sort of an anecdotal vignette that describes what Komurasaki's character is and kind of what she's about. And I feel like I kind of get the feeling that maybe Oda was kind of caught in between a little bit as far as like how much time you could spend, because it seems like I felt like there were a couple points where it was like, you could have taken this, like there's the sequence where like Bingo goes with his last bit of gold and like she's not there, and then he just leaves and then comes back again, and then they do the scene again. And it just sort of felt like like, I don't know, was that really necessary? Like, he could have maybe tightened it up just a teensy bit. But you know, he needed enough time for this story to have its own weight, like rather than just kind of summing it up in like a couple panels of like, oh, here's the guy and he gave her money and then she took his money and fooled him. You know, you wanted a little more meat on the bones than that. But yeah, it was an interesting story, and what I found interesting was the juxtaposition of like the text of what is going on versus the kind of like, I guess I would say, his visual storytelling of like the characters. Because if you look at Bingo, he like if you ignored the text, like if you just looked at the drawings, like he comes across as a sort of happy-go-lucky guy, you know, like he's missing teeth, he's an old guy, but he's always like happy, he's beaming, he's got the little sun rays, you know, coming out from behind him, and he's got the hearts and everything, and he seems like a pretty good-natured guy, and then, you know, and then he gets taken advantage of, and he's got the tears and the crying, and, you know, visually, it looks very much like, you know, a cruel lady who is seducing this, you know, this nice guy. But then when you look at the text, like, you really see that he is not a good guy at all. Like, this is very much like a kind of proper tragedy where he kind of gets what's coming to him from his own weakness, because he's got a family and he's got, you know, his house and everything. And he's just giving these things away because he's been adulterated by this beautiful woman who he's obviously going to see because he's going to this, you know, pleasure hall to hang out with the, you know, with the ladies of the night. And so, like, you know, it's not strictly a case of like, oh, she's just this heartless woman who is, you know, who's lying to these innocent men and leading them astray and stuff. It's like, no, they put themselves in that situation.
It's funny because, like, on the surface, that's the way we're supposed to read it. But no, it's clearly not. But it's funny. I just recently was looking up something about Anna Nicole Smith. And, like, for those of us old enough to remember, she was a woman who married a 90-year-old guy, and essentially, like, months before he passed.
Yeah.
and it's like, when you look at it, everyone thinks like, oh, she's just a gold digger, X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, but in the case of Komurasaki, it's like, no, that had everything in his life going for him, and he sold out his family specifically. I'm like, you're a bad dude at that point.
Yeah, exactly.
And I mean, also his kids were like 60, and they should have had their own money. Come on.
Good point.
Well, the thing I think is super interesting. So that line, like, what fool of a man would mistrust the woman he loves? Like, we just spent a giant arc establishing why being that fool is great.
Like, excuse me, aren't you the one who's cheating on his wife?
Yeah,
like,
gently, yeah,
sure.
Like, come on.
Yeah. So that stuff was fun, but otherwise, I think this was it was not a super like I don't know, I guess plot propulsive chapter. It was very much about, you know, like literally as the title says, it was about introducing Komurasaki, the Oiran. So I guess we'll see. And the other thing that I found that was interesting was again, we kind of get a sense of Kyoshiro being a more and more central figure to the story of what's going on in Wano, and I think especially when you recall that there was the one panel, I forget which exact scene it was, but you know, the one like sort of silhouettes of all of the samurai, where there's the one guy who appears to have Kyoshiro's hairstyle, that it does, you know, you can start to see the potential for, like, is this I think as was mentioned, you know, is this Kyoshiro kind of working with Komurasaki maybe to either take advantage of Orochi, or they're kind of biding their time? Is he similar to a Shutemaru figure where there is, you know, there, like, he's been maybe soured and turned cynical by what's happened, but he might be willing to ally, you know, like when the uprising happens and they're fighting back, you know, will he willingly join the side of the the good guys, because it kind of feels like that might be the archetype that we're working with. So he's becoming a more and more interesting character, and I'm really eager to see what more we'll get from Kyoshiro.
Ed,
I don't really have much to add to that. The story of Komurasaki, and I love the class dynamics that it exposes for all the reasons everyone's already said, of like her possibly being this lost royal family member who's lost everything, and if we're taking her at face value, hates the poor, but you don't know how much she knows about her own past, so you don't know if that's because of she was raised in that, or after she had some money and then ended up here, and but taking the money, like it's almost like Kyoshiro has been planning against the shogun for a while, and part of gathering money for a rebellion is through all of his business ventures, and this might be one of them. Because he does not seem to like the shogun, as we said.
Yeah.
And other than that, I like Raizo's brief appearance, poofing in and out, and further exploring the dynamics between Kid and Luffy in prison is interesting. And Caribou, I like how people are just treating him as an annoyance. Nobody really likes him at all, which is as it should be. Yeah. It shows the contrast between Kid and Luffy are stark, which I appreciate.
Yeah,
but yeah, I don't know much to add.
I mean, the only thing I would say is we got most of the, as Stephen called it, the propulsion in the plot in the first few pages with Kid, particularly, literally explaining what happened to him and then asking if we had any more questions, and then Caribou having the wrong answer about whether we had any more questions. But yeah, this chapter was fine. I feel a little more sour on this whole plot line, I guess. I think I feel a little bit better just with kind of the potential paths it could go in, but it also seems a little like, okay, I feel like we've told this story a few times in One Piece before. The evil woman turning good because of this and this. I mean, we mentioned Hancock, Pudding, Robin, who else? Viola.
Pudding should have actually been the opposite. She was introduced as a good person.
She went in a lot of different directions, to be fair.
Yeah.
Pudding was good, then evil, but she was always
She made a full turnaround.
And then she became good again. And then she became like both. And then she was both until pretty much the end. Yeah, this is something we've seen a lot. When I first read this, when it came out on Friday, I was like, okay, why are they continuing to hide her eyes at this point? Like, so in everything up until when she appears, I guess the whole thing is we didn't want to see her eyes until the Straw Hats saw her. That was my inner monologue there, because we don't really see her face until Sanji, Frankie, and Usopp do, or just about that time. But it feels like, okay, I kind of know what her eyes are going to look like, and they kind of look like that. Maybe very slightly different than whatever. What could be there? And I
kind of want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Stephen.
I was going to say, I kind of wonder if that archetypal story, if that's one of those things where like Oda was in the past, he was riffing on this sort of classic trope in the period piece stories that Japan likes to tell, and so he kind of went to it a couple times, and like now that we're finally in Wano, he's like, all right, time to do it again, because it's just so ingrained in his in his instincts as a
I mean, this whole story, I guess, until the last page, felt like a huge departure from all the other action that's going on. There's a lot of things. There are a lot of moving wheels and moving gears happening in the background, and this, still feels.
Well, we had to stop the story to introduce his character because she's very important.
Thank you, Ed.
I mean, that's the unspoken signaling of this.
No, I mean, I get it, and I'm sure in a few weeks, months, and years, they'll be like, obviously we had to introduce this important character because this and this and this happened. But I maybe I feel like the introduction could have been done a little bit differently. Maybe I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Komurasaki. Did we talk about this last week? How Komurasaki is based on an actual person,
right? Or I don't know if she's an actual. Is she an actual person, or is she kind of an apocryphal figure? I forget.
So she was said to be a famous and beautiful Oiran. And I think I'm pretty sure this is a folktale.
Okay,
but
yeah.
it could be history too. I don't know. I couldn't tell you that for sure. But the story goes is that she was in love with a particular man who wanted to buy her freedom, and he stole to obtain the money and was eventually executed. And then when a wealthy man tried to marry her by buying her freedom, she took her life in front of her lover's grave because she couldn't bear it. So I think it has something to do with that more than Oda playing on the same, bad woman turning out to be good trope. I think this is more of a playing on this particular story.
Yeah, I think what Steven said.
The constant question that we're asking with One Piece is like, is this here as to be like a straightforward, like classic folk story, or is he trying to be subversive on or level, or you never know. You never know which parts are sincere and which parts are a joke.
Well, we're not gonna. I mean, I think it's baseless, but until we get further on in the arc, honestly.
Yeah. I think what Steven said is probably accurate in that he's done this a bunch of times before with this in mind, maybe subconsciously, and then here he has a chance to do it in a Japanese setting. But go ahead, Alex.
Well, I mean, I think that's also part of the tropes that I don't know that I particularly enjoy about Japanese Tokugawa and Edo period style films is that, like, I don't know, I like. See, this is very much my jam. This entire arc. I think Joey would agree with me too, and I don't know. I just love seeing Oda's take on that kind of a story, even if it's a little bit of a departure from what we normally see in One Piece, or if it's something that we normally do see in One Piece. But I think it's very interesting and cool to see from that angle. Now you mentioned what's there to see about Komurasaki's eyes, and like, why did they hide her face? Well, I think it's very important that she has a reveal page, to show exactly how beautiful she is in terms of, like, it's easy to say, oh, well, she looks like any other One Piece female, but I would tend to disagree because Oda seems to be putting little touches on her face, little details in the eyes and the lips in order to really accentuate, like, that beauty. I forget where I saw it. Somebody tweeted it out this week, but Oda was talking about how hyping up beautiful women in his manga, like Hancock and Shirahoshi, was hard because he doesn't make very many different looking females. So he has to, like, sort of put a little extra effort into how he shapes the face and their features and stuff like that. And I think in the case of Komurasaki, that's not too far from that either. She sort of reminds me of what's her face, Otohime, in a way.
The lips
the lips, the sloping eyes too. I think
the eyes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, like her facial shape is a little different as well. Like, it's not it's a little it's not as elongated as Oda normally does it. So I don't know. But I think that has a lot to do with it. In terms of hiding her face throughout this entire flashback, and also it's a really great contrast in that the flashback makes her look very sinister, but once you see her, you sort of forget all that. She looks very kind and beautiful, and it's I think it's a pretty effective reveal. And where this chapter will be in the grand scheme of things, we have yet to see, obviously. But that's what I think.
I think it deserves to be said about Oda's ability to design characters and to give them features. Like, he's really good at accentuating things that make people look either good or evil, and to really get the most out of like how he wants the audience to feel about them. And then he's also really good at messing with that and kind of trying to trick you and throw you a curveball. So that's the kind of thing that's like you were saying about, when you actually see her, she doesn't actually look that bad. He's trying to mess with your mind and fake you out and keep you guessing, and that's kind of the fun of it.
Yeah, I mean, you could think 5 different ways about her in just this one chapter. You could be like, she's using people for her own gain, or she's using bad people for her own gain, or she's actually a good person trapped in the circumstances using bad people for her own gain, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, there's definitely some interesting stuff there. I don't know, maybe it was just personally, I wasn't like blown away by the chapter or maybe just this trope generally, the, kind of geisha trying to, I feel like I have seen this a lot even, and I'm not so immersed
it is very,
in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it is very tropey, but I think there's got to be a reason that Oda spent 4 pages on this.
Yeah, that's kind of, that's my,
like this is a meaty chapter, and that's the meat of it. Like that's a lot of it. I think it's very important this is going to be important at some point.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also just because we're between 2 week breaks too, and this is kind of a weird chapter for that. I think I'd be a little less down on it if it were kind of just a regular week, if it's the middle of June and we're just having regular chapters or whatever. But it's just it's weird to have in the middle here. But that's not Oda's fault. That's just a coincidence of publication here. So with that aside, you want to move into the next segment?
All right.
Hey everyone, it's time to review the year that was. This is our look back at 2018. The whole cast is still here. First, I think we should probably talk about our favorite, One Piece moment of the year. And we asked a lot of our fans to send in theirs as well. And people sent, their favorite panels and their favorite big moments. I'm like, wow, that happened this year for a lot of these. It ranges from stuff like Kaido kicking Luffy's ass, which apparently is a high moment for people.
It's a big moment.
No, it was a really big chapter. That was an exciting chapter.
I would think that the Reverie would be high on the list for just about everybody.
Yeah, Brian here, you wrote the Face Fault trio, I think, as part of it, even.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, joining the crazy faces.
The Tic-Tac-Toe-Chin?
Yeah, the Tic-Tac-Toe-Chin. I forgot that's what you guys named it.
Well, that was just because Frankie has a 3-part chin.
Yeah.
It works out.
We got Kiku's the tall girl, right? And Zoro having their moment together. I think for some reason was someone's big moment. Everything from Shanks.
I'm sure people ship it.
Shanks showing up come on. Shanks showing up at the Reverie, Panda Man sitting on the empty throne.
The giant fucking hat. What?
The giant hat. Yeah, that came up.
Yeah.
That was this year.
I mean, what wasn't also Snake Man this year or no?
Snake Man?
Or was it
that would have been end of last year, I think.
Gecko Moria showing up. Wait, I don't remember that happening. Anyway, with Shiryu taking Absalom's fruit. Zoro cutting through the Protectorate's face with
man.
With
the
knife.
What a good scene.
Yeah, at the very, very, very beginning of Wano. We have Sanji, the "You hungry, I'll feed you" with Zeph. The very end of that whole kick out.
So good.
Yeah, the Snake Man versus the Katakuri, like the cover of, is that volume 89? I think basically.
89. Yeah.
The Luffy versus Katakuri, that final battle.
89.
Katakuri's super badass, and this I forgot, like the super shadowy thing with the eyes, just the shining eyes coming out. I don't know if anyone remembers that. That was
a good panel.
Yeah, the putting the end roll. We're putting
and the whole and like 902, the end roll chapter. Like that's probably my favorite chapter of everything I've read, like week to week.
Yeah, that was also with Katakuri and Brulee at the very last moment.
Yeah, and Carrot and Sanji.
That was a very good way
Pedro.
That was a very, very good way to end that arc. In retrospect, I'm liking that arc more and more. Like the issues I think it had were kind of minor.
People are not prepared for how well that arc is going to age.
I agree completely.
Yeah.
I mean, I also loved it. I just loved it as it was going anyway. But I think people are. I don't know. I
think the people who will be catching up on that arc are going to appreciate it even more because it's such a twisty, turny arc. Even week to week, I remember it's like, whoa, what's happening now? You had no idea what was coming next. That entire arc.
I'm looking forward to covering it on the read through because I have no idea how my opinion is going to change.
My opinion of it is like it's good, but it definitely was starting to wear on me a little at the end. I think I was just getting some fatigue, which I get a lot the
It was a long.
I think just doing this podcast,
and
it's easier for me to go.
The breaks during the weekly release was
they were
pretty stressful.
Other favorite moments from fans. I'm sorry, I should be mentioning all these people who are writing these, but this one's from Michael who says Dobone is his favorite moment of 2018.
The bone.
Maddie, who's in the background here somewhere, is Sanji taking his shirt off.
Nice.
Carrot crying is Sam's here. Is that panel that was from that same chapter? Then Sam, right? Yeah. Just tell him thank you. We got a lot here. Kate putting in Sanji's last moments together. Grant said. The Katakuri said, "You're looking pretty far into the future before he falls," and then Luffy putting the hat on him out of respect. That is a really cool line to end Katakuri's arc there. Emu, a bunch of people wrote that, and the Reverie, a bunch of people wrote.
That sounds about right to me.
Yeah, those are good answers.
No Blackbeard.
Kaido being a dragon. I'm looking for Blackbeard. I think we got one Blackbeard maybe. Grant saying. Reading all of One Piece so far. I think he just started this year, right?
It was the beginning of the year, and he's now at Water 7.
That's pretty crazy.
He just got to the past the famous Water 7 reveal.
The CP9, yeah.
Oh, that was fun to see him. Yeah. Ed was nice enough not to spoil that for me, or to make sure I didn't get spoiled.
Oh yeah, and that's no fun if you get.
No, that was such a reveal.
I would say for my to toot my own horn as far as like translation related, I would say Big Mom's song at the end of Whole Cake Island. There's a lot. The Bad End one, the Bad End musical.
There's like two songs.
Yeah, that was creepy.
At the end there.
What was the second one?
The second one,
which is like the narrator singing, basically.
Right. Yeah, it was more of a overall thing.
Disembodied voice.
Did anyone put down a Zoro and Luffy's team up against Hawkins?
No.
That would be one of my favorite moments of the year.
I forgot about that, but yeah, that was really cool. When they both have the swords, and then Luffy throws the sword.
He throws the scabbard.
The scabbard.
The scabbard, and just Zoro freaking out at that.
So Alex, do you have any favorite moments of the year?
I wish I had them all in front of me.
It's hard to remember. Just so much happened.
Well, the Blackbeard thing was really recent and really out of the blue. Like that entire first half of the chapter was like everything relating to the Reverie. Like that was every week was just a new punch in the face.
Especially Stelly. That's a huge punch in the face.
Yeah.
How about Charlos coming back playing the old hits?
Yeah.
Miosgard. I thought that was such a great example of long form storytelling.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to say that the Bad End musical. That's probably my that or the first act of the first chapter of Wano. I think those were the two big moments for me. Bad End musical. It ends so. That's the cliffhanger of the year. God, thinking on just thinking about so many moments, but that I think was that chapter in particular, like the last chapter of like how they ended Whole Cake Island.
I think
was just super.
I think what you could say for that is that it's a great chapter because specifically the cliffhanger does not like you don't get the very underwhelming follow up to the cliffhanger, which is that they're just like inside Watatsumi's gross mouth.
I mean, like just it. I think it emphasizes just like what Whole Cake Island, how the ending of Whole Cake Island is supposed to make you feel, where it's like, it's kind of hard stop, like emptiness, like everything that feels bad doesn't feel so bad, but the things that are supposed to feel good kind of feel terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, I go so far to say chapter 900 through 910, which are those like last few of Whole Cake, the Reverie stuff, and then the beginning of Wano are some of like the best I could remember in certainly recent memory covering. They're just like they're all hits, you know. I think the only one I didn't really love was the Wadatsumi reveal, which who knows in retrospect how I'm going to feel about that. But at the time, it's like they're all dead and they just happen to be in his mouth. Oh,
I even think in future hindsight, we're like, that's kind of a cop out, Oda.
It is a little bit of a cop out, but everything's except for that little thing, I think were really amazing. And yeah, the first few chapters of Wano, particularly, I think were amazing, especially artistically. So we should probably talk about the more important thing, and that's our favorite episode titles of the year on the One Piece podcast. This is where we kind of, say how amazing we are.
And also halfway through the year is when we first got Maddie doing our art for us.
Yeah. I mean, do any of us have favorite Maddie art for the year? I should ask that too. That's a hard choice.
Do that.
That's really good.
Here.
There's a lot of good ones.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen her art for whatever reason, please go to onepiecepodcast.com or soundcloud.com/onepiecepodcast, and you could see them all there.
Let's see. Donut Hipster is really good.
Yeah. I think I'm on just like drawing wise, I think that's my favorite one.
I like Luffy Visits Relatives in Annapolis, Maryland.
That one's really good.
Yeah. I want that Viver card.
Steve drew Uncle Crocus, but that one's still.
Red Lip Zeph is definitely the creepiest, and it haunts my nightmares to this very day.
Yeah, Luffy
Reading Rainbow
Relatives is good.
Baby Legs, Kaido.
Tic Tac Toe, also very good.
So are we just mentioning all of them here?
Yeah,
Blackbeard Man Spread.
That's what we do.
One's really
Blackbeard Man Spread's good. I forgot about
do you think we would post an episode title if it wasn't good?
Yes, exactly. We have totally done that.
And of course, Hippopotter in the Chamber of Slaughter.
That might be one of my favorite titles of the year. I'll say that. Definitely. I mean, great image too, don't get me wrong. But that title is amazing.
So, as far as titles go, I really like All According to Keikaku.
That's a really early one. People really like that
good,
one.
Photoshop image too.
Wait.
And the guy from Death Note.
Hold on, I'm Oven It.
I'm Oven It is great. Yeah.
So one of my favorite things about I'm Oven It also though is Maddie did a drawing for that too.
Yes,
that was the very first one, right?
Yeah,
I think
that's like the pilot.
We replaced it. Yeah.
Like that might be both my favorite title and my favorite Maddie drawing.
My favorite title is probably Burger Ham Lincoln.
Yeah,
I like the meaning of Pez dispenser.
That's disgusting.
Oh yeah, hey, I'm gonna take credit for that joke.
Yeah, I think that is. Really
Nobody beats the winch. Love aside from reference.
Oh God, yes.
I mean, it was a real place. The Wiz.
Let's see here. Oh yeah.
Wait, Gum Ladysmith Black Man Buzz though.
I don't remember the context of that one at all.
I was probably
Snake Man. That was Snake Man.
Oh yeah.
Young
Man
Black
Mamba. Cloud has a great image.
Thank you. I think that was one of my last photoshops before Maddie took over.
Capone's high quality shoe establishment, not a front, is also good.
Actually, no, that's a super good title too.
We used the picture of a figure on that one.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No,
I put it.
I just got that figure.
Stephen.
Oh wait.
Stephen, are you upset you don't get to do your photoshops anymore too?
No, not that much.
Actually, hold on. I think I different category, I guess, but I'm tooting my own horn completely because I'm so proud of my favorite Photoshop, is The Shape of Watatsumi.
Oh God!
Yeah, I enjoy.
I spent a lot of time on that one.
Good title as well.
We had a lot of fun at these consecutive weeks, but with the Dork Night, where we put the Batman, Mighty put the Batman into the classic logo, and then the week after that was Die Bellamy Die. I forget what was.
We were going to do another Batman one.
That.
Oh, Die Bellamy Die.
Die Bellamy Die.
That's the flag guy, the flag designer, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And we were saying how much he hated Bellamy, and I think it doesn't mean the Bellamy thing. I don't remember.
That look on his face in that picture. It's great.
I think there was also like something in the what do you call it? The part below the cover page that said something that was related. I don't know.
Oh, it's because he was becoming a professional dyer.
Dyer, yeah, DYE. Yeah. Die Bellamy Die. Yeah. That was the joke. We just explained our own joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a good year. Good year for episodes. Steven, thoughts on the year?
Yeah, I was gonna say just kind of looking forward to 2019. I feel like we've had a ton of fun with Wano so far, and it's pretty clear that we're really only scratching the surface because we've just been sort of expanding. We haven't even been introduced to all of the primary players, and we're still like expanding with all of these locals and this cast of very colorful characters, and the plot of the arc still hasn't even really like gotten moving, I think, towards the real story. So I feel like we're in for a huge year of Wano, and it's already been so much fun. Like I can't even imagine what it'll be like at this time next year, with another full year of this arc under our belt. Because I'm just assuming it's going to take, we're going to be
at least
still in Wano, at the end of 2019. But
it's the only thing I can predict about this year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Big Mom is supposed to show up at some point again, maybe. Yeah. That's going on in the background. There's a lot of undercurrents going on. I think for me, the Reverie certainly brought up some like huge points that who knows when and if we're ever going to see, where those go, from Shank showing up in CP0 and all that stuff, and Sabo, to other really huge stuff like Emu. Who the hell is that guy? A guy over the five Elder Stars. The giant hat, which we discussed, and all of that. So yeah, some really big gauntlets laid down this year by Oda. This has been a really big year.
It was also like the fact of escaping Whole Cake Island without really defeating Big Mom, but not like they could have. But I think people were a little bit disappointed by that. But Luffy's bounty goes up anyway.
Yeah, anyone who is disappointed or surprised by that, I'm like, you're not paying attention.
Well, all right, okay. Here's an actual gripe that I have. We've been in Wano for how many chapters now? And at the end of 2018, we still don't have Jinbei.
Yeah.
That
I would say is the low point of the year.
Yeah.
It's not really a point. It's just kind of a low fact of the year.
Yeah.
It's like a lot of really great, interesting stuff happens, but we're still waiting to get to the fireworks factory.
Yeah. we just want our fish uncle.
Yeah.
That's all we want. I think some people even put some of what you guys mentioned there. Any other thoughts? Anything else I have not mentioned? No? Okay. Piece together time. Let's do it. Millet dumplings for Piece Together. Who would like some Piece Together? This is where we take questions, comments, theories. Why don't we start out with this piece, Ed?
This piece.
Sam, please take it away.
Our only disc piece this week comes from Narthon. A general jump / manga question. It seems like new batches of jump starts often have very similar base concepts. Often some combination of protagonist who has to pay the debts of their dead parents, organization that hunts monsters / demons, protagonist that has the power of the evil creatures they fight, or everyman protagonist who meets up with someone extraordinary and follows them around? Is this because Jump is asking for these kinds of stories, or is it lack of imagination? Something I'm missing? Thanks for the podcast. A little column A, a little column B.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
But I think there's also a column C in there, which like that might just be the zeitgeist of where like entertainment in Japan or the creative inspiration is at the moment.
Yeah, the concern of like tropes and cliches and like familiar types of stories is always kind of there's a fine line, right? Like sometimes that's just like, you know, that's how stories work, or sometimes that's how,
and it's what the market quote unquote demands. It's like you go back 20, 25 years, the trope would have been massive muscle man wanders the waste and beats up every bad guy that gets in his way with violence.
That was definitely more of the trope. Muscle man in general was a big 80s Shonen Jump trope.
Yeah, and but we don't have muscle men anymore except for All Might, so that's about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean it's affected by many different layers, because it's, you know, okay, what it's the, you know, the common understanding of like, okay, well, what sells, what's a successful starting point, and that will inform the way that both the artists and the editors approach stuff, because, you know, as you've seen from like if you've listened to like our episodes about the One Piece magazine interviews, where Oda talks about like the process before he got serialized, is a lot of times these artists, you know, they're going through like a dozen or more iterations of like different stories and bringing one shots to their editors, and the editors are saying this is good, no, that's not good.
And that's actually one of the most interesting things about that interview, was Oda saying that he got criticized very harshly. But I think that he realized that was because people had extremely high expectations for him, and they expected more of him.
Yeah, and that process will sort of guide you into like certain things, like, okay, this works as a story. This is a good starting point. This is a good thing that makes for a good hook for a chapter one. And then they know, okay, is this going to be a monster of the week type story? Is this going to be an epic, world changing story? Like, what sort of a series is it? And there's a lot of conventional wisdom about how you can do that, and they don't often break that mold. And I think a lot of the times when they do break it, it's when they know that it's got to, like you take The Promised Neverland, for example, like that's a very different type of series where it's this like, like mystery horror almost.
But even that one, like chapter one of Promised Neverland, like really suffered for me, because like you could tell that like at some point some Jump editor is like, okay, we need, something Attack on Titan adjacent, and that's what we're looking for, and that's what we're asking artists to give us.
But that's almost like the business in a nutshell. Even in the States,
just chapter one.
Yeah, well, that's
after that it's different. But
even in American cartoons, it's like you have to sell it and do a pilot episode to sell the premise, and then once you do it, the pilot and the suits kind of stop paying attention to what kind of show you're producing. Then maybe if you want to, you can do like a more broader established show. But if you look at a season one or a first episode of any show, it kind of like it might just be the seed of the idea, but it's not going to be the totality idea, simply because you just have to sell the show or get your idea out there.
Yeah, it doesn't matter like how good of an idea you have overall. If it doesn't hook the audience, if you're not grabbing them by the collar like in that very first installment, it's going to be dead on arrival, because they're just not going to pay attention.
Yeah, and then the people who get to decide what the hook is depending on the magazine editor or the studio editor or whoever is the person in charge to say, this is the kind of show we need, this is the hook that's going to work for us, and then they can produce beyond that.
Yep.
Yeah. Should we move into emails? I think so. Have anything more to say? Yeah. So first one comes from Ryan, who said, I know there is a recurring theme on the show that Blackbeard will show up at the end of Wano and steal Kaido's dragon fruit for himself. I think it would be more intimidating if he actually stole Orochi's fruit instead. I think an 8-headed dragon that shoots darkness and causes earthquakes is way scarier than a single-headed dragon doing the same thing. Have a happy holiday!
That's King Ghidorah from King Ghidorah?
King Ghidra.
King Ghidra, who has
Ghidra,
three
yeah.
heads. Yeah,
Yes,
3 heads.
from
Godzilla. Yeah.
I mean, I agree with him that that's more terrifying. First off, we don't exactly know what Orochi is and what he has and how it works, if it's a fake devil fruit or a real devil fruit.
Oda might have just be doing a misdirection with us too, like he did with Hold'em.
I mean, there's a lot of assumptions in that question. I mean, we know Blackbeard could have more than one fruit, but how many more, and what does he want with this third fruit? And yeah, it's not completely out of the realm of possibility that he would want the strongest Zoan to go with the strongest Paramecia.
I hope so.
The strongest Logia. Yeah, I think that would make sense, but how the hell is he going to get it from Kaido? Didn't we mention that maybe Luffy defeats Kaido and then he takes it from him? After that, he seems to be more of like a scavenger than I'm going to go out there and defeat you. Yeah.
Yeah. He's definitely an opportunist.
Yeah, that's what kind of makes him creepy and evil. It's that we don't like the fact that he just sneaks in there and does his thing. In the background. This one comes from DDD, who says, Oda sure loves to make it look like Komodosaki is Hiyori, but this person believes that it is a red herring. And that it's actually Tama that Toki sent to the future, but less than 20 years. As to why Momo doesn't recognize her, maybe he's lying to protect her, and he knows that she is Hiyori. I feel like that was very much disproven in this chapter.
Yeah, I feel like when you put those two scenes next to each other like that, like you can't like. It's using visual language to lead the audience to a conclusion that then you're going to be like surprised that intuitive,
that would be more than a red
aha
herring.
moment you had meant nothing.
Yeah, that would be more than a red herring. That would be like
well, this is it. If she's not Hiyori, we would still need to feel like there's a good reason for those two scenes to be next to each other, because I feel like that's important. I feel like that's very on purpose.
Plus, another thing was that was the first scene we got with Momo and Tama together, and the whole point of even theorizing it could also be Tama's the fact they hadn't met yet. Now they've met, and he clearly didn't recognize his sister, and she didn't recognize her brother, if that were the case. So I think that's out the window now.
It would be very unsatisfying if you tried to be like, oh, well, they both had memory loss because of the trauma or something. I just feel like,
how was
and then Sabo
Hiyori
shows
when she was sent into the future?
She was younger, but not by much. It seemed like she could have easily been.
She would have been 6 and is 26 now.
Right. She wasn't a baby.
Yeah. No. She would remember her brother, especially if he didn't change.
Right.
Yeah, I think if anything, she will immediately recognize him and not the other way around. Okay, let's move on to Reddit. Steven.
All right. We will begin with Emma Ivano M. Who says, hey, OPP, I know you guys aren't in charge of this, but how do you access this Shonen Jump vault if it exists? It seems it's not selling what they advertised. You can't actually read all 10,000 manga. Well, I don't know exactly what you are alleging here, but if you go to...
Yeah, I see it right here.
What is it? Viz.com/Shonen Jump.
Or shonenjump.viz.com or shonenjump.com in some places,
They will direct you to the right spot. And
or on your phone, there's an app for it.
Yes, there's an app.
That's probably
as well.
the easiest way to access a lot of it.
I mean, I'm assuming that if this person is in the correct region, that's the first question, because it is available in many countries, but certainly not all. And they're, like we said last week, they're working on it, but that's a more long-term issue. But as far as like if you can get to the website, the vault is the part that is subscriber only. So after the latest 3 chapters, and I think the first 3 chapters they also put up, and everything in between is in the vault, which is you have to be the $2 a month subscriber. And then you can access them, and that's it has worked so far, I think, for everybody else. So I'm not sure if there's something in particular that this person is doing wrong. Otherwise,
maybe they're actually trying to count all 10,000 mangas, and it's like I count 9,986. They lied.
Yeah. Well, there is a 100 chapter a day cap. Cap that you can't go beyond.
That's probably a good idea anyway.
Yeah. Natachi says, hey, OPP, now that we can assume that Momonosuke knows who his sister is and that she is alive, do you think it's possible that Oden is also alive and being kept prisoner by Kaido or Orochi? Well, everyone has mourned his death. We have had no certain proof. Also, now that we know that Shanks played samesies with Kid and cut his arm off, do you think Luffy and Kid might fight over Kid going after Shanks anytime soon?
Samesies, I'm gonna rip yours now.
Sure.
On the last part of the question, I think Luffy might try to protect Shanks, but Luffy has the same goal. He wants to surpass Shanks, so he's not going to be like, oh, you can't beat him. Outside of the fact I'm going to beat him first, that might happen.
Also, like he was basically just saying in Luffy's presence, like, yeah, I tried to take on Shanks and I lost my arm, and Luffy had like no reaction to that specifically.
Well, he probably wasn't that surprised. He's like, it's Shanks. Of course he took your arm.
Yeah. As far as Oden being alive, I do not think that is going to be the case. I
hope Toki's alive.
It would make for a very sad story.
Yeah, exactly. I think Oda does love his like surprise I'm not dead things, but I think that requires having seen the character die in order to be effective as a as a surprise.
Yeah, like as Sam said, the whole emotional weight and narrative of this arc is the fact that Lord Odin was a great guy and Orochi and Kaido took him out, and that's the tragedy of Wano.
I'm really trying to. I want to try to like unlearn that sort of like meta expectation of like everything's got to be like this subversion of what it's setting us up to think it is. I mean, like it often will be that, but I don't know. Just like this, I was making this observation on Twitter. Like it's like trying to predict rock paper scissors, where like if I do this, then he might do that. But that's what he wants me to think. And so now I don't know. Like sometimes I feel like in order for Oda to tell like this very kind of classic, timeless kind of story that he clearly wants to tell, I think you kind of need to let it do its thing. And so
which he does most degrees. There's just on occasionally he'll mess with us like Papa Gya, who just shows up at the end of Skypiea. It's just like but that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, the problem is that yes, he is playing rock paper scissors, and that defines a lot of the the second guessing. But then every once in a while, he throws out a sword or bazooka or something like that, and then that means that everyone has to guess any possible answer you could possibly imagine, and obviously it the story has certain parameters that Oda is sticking to make sure that it's a good story and not just a surprising one.
Yeah.
All right. Gladius Wing 0 says, after the news and hype coming out of Jump Fiesta, I must admit my excitement for the Stampede movie has been greatly reduced. I just can't take it anymore. Can we have Jinbei with the Straw Hats already? My fish-loving heart can't take this blue balling anymore. But anyway, hope it's great. And my question is, what information coming from Jump Festa has you the most excited for 2019? Happy holidays.
More referee stuff for me, maybe?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, I think for me it was just the way that he was saying, like, I would never let them do this movie otherwise. I'm just like, what does that mean?
Yes,
like, what
exactly?
Maybe he means that the Jinbei might actually show up on the crew this time. Just because we didn't get a design for him doesn't mean he's not in the movie.
Yeah, but
I was hoping that they'd be very like openly pro Jinbei at Jump Festa this year, because he's in the Viver card, he's in some art that Oda drew.
They might be holding something closer to their chest until like over the course of the year.
Could be, yeah.
He just shows up in the middle of Wano and says, "It's official. I'm a crew member now." And then 2019.
It's official.
Get out.
Well, we got until August, so if they're holding back surprises, they've got plenty of time to.
Well, now we know what we will call the episode when he does join.
Nice. All right, keep it in the back pocket. Nick 2473 GOT says, got a question for Steven. Am I correct in assuming Komurasaki is spelled with the kanji for small and purple/violet? Yes, that is true. If so, do you think there could be some hidden meaning to the term Little Violet, like a clue to her identity as Hiyori, which seems heavily telegraphed at this point? The colors purple, pink, and fuchsia have all been associated with Wano to a degree, with several Wano characters having purple incorporated into their designs. Not that necessarily means anything. Thanks. Well, yes, it is true that is the kanji that spell her name. I mean, I think it's probably more significant just simply that, that is the name of, this actual figure, a folklore figure, I think we said in the manga recap. And that he's obviously taking that as the basis for the character archetype, and that he's sort of playing off of that within the story of One Piece. My guess is probably not that it has anything, any like intrinsic meaning that is going to be revealed. But obviously, we just got introduced to her character, and we're all expecting some kind of a twist or a wrinkle on what we've been given. So, obviously I can't rule out that there will be something that we look back on and it's like, oh, now this lines up with something in the name. But I guess I am skeptical of that at this point, simply because we do know what the main root of the name is. The Admiral Peaches says, on the subject of Orochi, I hope that Orochi is the smile fruit part, like Kamijiro, and the human part is an incredibly weak guy who has basically lost control of his body to Orochi, the dragon, to the point he looks more like a dragon that ate a human smile fruit than a human who ate a multi-headed dragon smile fruit. That's pretty good.
That would be funny.
I like that idea. Yeah.
Just like some poor man who accidentally ate a fruit that took him over.
Yeah. All right, getting towards the end here. Grand Reboot says, "Hey OPP, just wanted to say hi." Hi.
Thanks.
And lastly,
we don't get that
Nivers. Yeah.
No, please don't say.
Nobody asks us how we're doing. Nivers says, "What fictional Simpsons item would be the worst to give each of these Straw Hats for Christmas or other wintertime gift-giving holiday? Choppers would be a funzo, and Sanchi's would be a tour of the steel mill." What was that? Oh, the funzo was their Furby, right?
Yeah, and then the steel mill one is the one that it's the
guys,
the gay steel mill, which is the best.
Luffy's would be a trip to the box factory.
The box factory, yeah.
This is where we used to have a vending machine.
Fictional Simpsons item.
Well, what about the what's the grammar one? The robot.
Linguo?
Linguo.
Who would that be for?
Frankie? No.
I don't know.
Actually,
if Frankie
would
dig that. Would Frankie like the Homer mobile? Would he just vomit over the atrocity of it?
Yeah, the Homer. Who would get the rod?
Well, the
inanimate rod.
Yeah, like Nami maybe. It's just worthless.
Maybe,
but it's a hero.
It's like, here, use this for your Climatact.
Yeah, instead of her Climatact, she'd have an inanimate carbon rod. Look at my inanimate carbon rod.
Yeah, that would have to be the best gift for Usopp. He can get so many rubes with it.
Oh yeah. This is the very famous inanimate carbon rod. It does many things, such as nothing.
Okay.
I think that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
That's it. All right, Ed, time to
Peace the tweet.
What do we got this week on this holiday weekend?
Question from Sengoku the Gouda, who says, "While I loved Pudding's character in the end, I'm beyond tired of villainous last turns out to be good trip, especially with its recent frequency. Is there any hope Komurasaki stays awful, or should I resign myself to the inevitable?" I think we talked about that.
I mentioned that a bunch.
Yeah.
When I accidentally didn't let Alex talk. Yeah, go ahead.
It's definitely the fair and safe assumption to make that she's probably going to turn out to be good. I don't know. I'm just going to assume that's the case, and maybe it'll surprise me.
Assume that the dudes who started with all the money were bad to begin with, and she was never a bad person. She was always good.
True. Yeah.
Or she was
And
just
she's gonna
enacting.
screw over Orochi.
Or she's just. I would say at this point, all I can assume she's just enacting her own revenge. Revenge isn't necessarily a good or evil trait. It's just revenge.
Yeah.
I mean, and to be fair too, like it's not like Oda has never successfully done a turnabout. Like think of how we first saw Frankie. Like, you know, he stole their money and he beat the crap out of Usopp. You know, he
Or
was
all
like
of CP9.
yeah.
Hancock,
They're still bastards though.
Yeah,
well,
there's
Hancock kicked kittens.
yeah, or puppies, yeah.
Yeah, and was a badass in the war.
Mhm.
But with the pudding thing, that's one of the more disappointing quote unquote things I felt in Whole Cake. I just wish pudding stayed bad. Even if she started to change later, I would have been fine for that. But the change was too sudden and too quick for me personally.
I'm not going to get into pudding right now, but
One of the things
That is
I'm
a whole
looking,
episode of the podcast.
yeah, looking forward to how I react to find out how I react to reading through the entire arc in one go for the read through.
Yeah, I want to reserve my judgment until we do a read through. We could talk about it for 30 minutes then.
Next one comes from Cracker Jakku, who says, "I wonder if Bluno is in CP0.
Wait,
Because if
Bluno?
he is, then
Where's Bluno
from the bar. From the bar.
Bluno from the bar. Okay.
If he is most likely one of the assassins heading for Impel Down. His door ability would be useful in dealing with Magellan's poison or for transporting Doflamingo out of his cell."
I mean, it's a great power generally. I mean, he basically has the teleportation power. He could.
Yeah.
I don't know how far he could go, but
I think his voice actor shares a voice with one of the masked CP0 guys that we know.
Okay.
I did not know.
No, maybe
At least that's how I remember. I remember somebody pointing that out.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe he's there.
And he has a great voice.
Yeah,
That's probably one of my favorite
the-
voice actors. Yeah.
The reason they may have done that, not just to queue up Bluno, but Bluno was the first CP9 agent who showed up when he was wearing a mask to contact Robin. So that might have been kind of a nod to that.
Oh, they think he's one of the ones with the masks at the very beginning of Dressrosa.
Yeah. Or like one of the guys. Like I think there's a masked guy when it's Lucci and Kaku and Stussy.
Yeah.
I also hope there are some additional new people on that. I hope it's not just CP9.
Yeah.
Stussy's new.
Yeah.
Stussy.
Steve
Stussy on the
Stussy.
Lucy. Yeah.
The new CEO.
Just CP9, but everyone got a promotion.
Next one comes from Giovanni, who says, "Merry Grinchmas. Has the crew ever considered karaokeing the One Piece rap?" We did on Anime Fans Get Back to Japan too.
Yeah, that's how you make Stephen Bloom show up out of the blue. If you ever need him to show up, just start rapping and he'll just boom.
All right, so the last piece of the tweet question this week is from Mikamat, who says, "If you had to choose a Straw Hat to get an additional arc written about, similar to the focus on Sanji and Whole Cake, which Straw Hat would you pick or why? And why?" I'd pick Robin. She's my favorite, and there's a ton of blank space when she was on her own. As always, I would say Zoro, because he is my favorite character, and he has the least backstory of any member of the Straw Hat Pirates.
Yeah, and people have said Chopper too, and I would like to get extra time.
I would back a Chopper and maybe an additional Robin one simply because they didn't get a crew chapter number that like all the other Straw Hats have gotten.
You know who needs more time? Sanji.
Nah, I'm good.
Steve needs to be on for that.
Yeah. I would say that I think that Brooke would be an interesting one, not just because I feel like, oh well, you know, there's some mystery behind, you know, like he was being coy about the whatever backstory thing was going on Whole Cake Island, like not so much for that reason, but just because I would be curious to see like how, you know, so much of Brooke's personality is based off of having been alone and going crazy for, you know, decades while he was just floating around in the Florian Triangle. I would be curious to see like how much of that personality was already there, like was his original, you know, his innate personality in life, and how much of that was like sort of acquired by the, you know, the trauma of that experience. Because I feel like there would be a lot of room to, you know, to show a different side of Brooke. So that would be interesting, I think.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I would agree with everything said. I'm trying to, yeah. Anyway, any other thoughts?
I don't think I have the emotional economy for another year of blank.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, now I remember what I was going to say, Steven. I think Brooke just has a tremendous amount available for him. I mean, he's 88 or 90 now.
Right.
There's just so much blank history, not to make a pun, or void history in his life, that I'd love to see. But
Brooke's one of the only Straw Hats we've not seen their personality as a child.
Yeah, that too. We don't know what his childhood was like. Which is important to know for the main characters. Anyway, I think that's going to do it for Piece Together. You guys ready to round off?
All right.
Let's do it. Are you ready?
This has been the One Piece Podcast, episode 550 for the week of Monday, December 24th, 2018. Starting in 2019, our episodes will be on Sunday nights, which, if you are a early adapter of One Piece Podcast episodes, that will be important to you. Otherwise, just, subscribe and check your feed as to when they come out. We have a quiz coming up at the end to kind of round the year off here, but before we get into that, Alex, where could the good people out there find you?
Well, as always, you can find me on Twitter at @dude!! I'm also on Instagram with the same handle, and you can, of course, listen to me on Toho Yaro with Joey Weiser and Scott Dryman every month. The movie that we did this past month was The Funeral by Juzo Itami, and we are getting ready to do next month's movie pretty soon. It's called The Yellow Handkerchief, and that is directed by Yoji Yamada.
Nice, thank you, Alex. We also have Sam here with us. Sam.
Hey, they can find me on Twitter at Lucky Chainsaw. They can find me on AnimeNewsNetwork.com, doing the daily stream reviews for One Piece, Black Clover, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Golden Wind. And they can find me on the One Piece podcast every week doing the anime recaps, but sometimes the scheduling for those things gets a little messy during the holidays. So,
same with the manga now. Steven.
Yeah, we're all adjusting to different schedules now. If you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter at Translatosaurus.
Cat pictures, only cat pictures. Brian.
I don't have as many cat pictures, unfortunately.
Is that true?
Yeah,
I don't post them. They're my babies. But you can follow me on Twitter as Dark King Zoro, all one word. You can check out some of my old artwork on DeviantArt and Banendorf. Check out episodes of Rick and Morty, Teen Titans Go. I think those are the only things I've worked on recently. But also, I have a podcast if you want to find out what it's like to get into the animation industry, called Animation Success Stories Podcast. That's the ASS podcast on YouTube. Where we interview people who are working in the industry and find out how they got in and what were their inspirations.
Ed.
Well, you can find me at Edward E. One Piece on Twitter. You're Zach_Logan. I'm also at Weeb Trailers on Twitter. I'm probably going to post the Tokyo Godfathers trailer in honor of Christmas later tonight. But as for the podcast, you can find us at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. OnePiecePodcast is our Skype name. Please support us, Patreon.com/OnePiecePodcast. You can subscribe on SoundCloud. And, don't forget to give us some Piece Together on our subreddit, r/OnePiecePodcast. And you can subscribe on SoundCloud, subscribe on Google Play, subscribe, rate, and review on Apple Podcasts, or call us on our phone numbers. Zach.
And that number is 347-497-MAJI.
Maji.
That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime.
Anytime.
With your questions, comments, theories, or what Frankie should be ironing for you. Before we get into trivia, I also want to make an announcement that we will have a new Patreon exclusive podcast with Ed and me.
That's right.
Going through the Dragon Ball manga from beginning to end. Releasing in 2019 whenever we feel like it. That's the schedule. I'm not going to get into the specific schedule.
There might be one episode this year, maybe.
No, we'll try. We're going to try and start recording soon. I think next week we said. So
I get to break out my old Viz Big issues and enjoy the color pages.
And if you want to follow along, it's available in the archive, just $2 a month on Shonen Jump and Viz. You also get access to all of the Viz archive, all of the Shonen Jump archive, sorry, for that $2 a month. So why the hell not? You can follow along from the very beginning. This is the entire Dragon Ball manga, so it includes Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. And I have never read it, so we will see what I think about it. I mean, I've watched both.
Hey, maybe one day we'll even read the Dragon Ball Super manga.
Anyway, we have a quiz for you today to round off the year, please. Now, for those who don't know, our trivia contests go like this. We will go in the order we went through to do the manga, so that will be Steven, then Brian, then Alex, then Sam, and then Ed. And we're going to name characters in a category today, as we usually do. If you name the same one someone else named, if you name someone who does not fit in the category, or you run out of time, you are out. The winner gets a taiyaki cookie. So
just tell me what the category is.
The category is every named character in the Wano arc so far. It's introduced in the Wano arc. So I'm going to take these out of the running right now because these have been introduced even though they're prominent. For example, Hawkins does not count. Kaido does not count, and Jack does not count because we were not specifically introduced to them in this arc. The One Piece wiki will include a lot of the ones I just named, but we're not going to count those. So that, also Kinemon, Momonosuke, Kanjuro, Raizo, not going to include those. But yeah, anyway, yeah. Actually, that one wasn't introduced. I just saw one more that I didn't name. Minatomo was not introduced in this arc, technically. Anyway, so let's go through Steven.
How about...
Yeah, go ahead.
How about characters that were mentioned in Zo?
Mentioned in Zo? See, that's like... So, I'll give an example, like Odin, I don't think would count.
That's fine.
Yeah, I guess that was technically mentioned. But his wife would count. Anyway,
like a character who's been talked about, but we haven't seen yet.
Well, we haven't seen Odin yet. Anyway, like if we had seen Odin, I would have been like, okay, that could have counted. But we still haven't seen him, so there's still, yeah. Anyway, and there was one character whose name was not mentioned until this arc. I'm pretty sure. Anyway. Go ahead, Steven.
So, is it against the rules to say a Luffy Taro?
I'm gonna kill you. It's not against the rules,
I
but
think so.
No, it's not against the rules. But I'm not gonna count that as a correct answer. So I'm not gonna take it off as an incorrect answer if you say one of those. I'm not gonna count it as a correct answer.
Okay. All right. In that case, Otama.
Yes. Wherever she is.
She might be under Tama.
Yeah, that's where I'm looking. Where the hell she was put in this? Oh, there she is. Yeah, just Tama. All right, where are we? What is the order again? So Steven, then Brian.
Osuru.
Yes, she's toward the end. Alex.
Sorry. Yeah. Did you guys go already?
Yeah, they went already. So I can't tell you what they said, but yes.
Great. Oh, man, that's great. My girlfriend called me, so I had to take it.
Bye.
Come on, we can tell. We can tell.
Yeah. You said, who was said so far? Because I said so. Tama and Suru, yeah.
Okay, great. Toko.
Yes. Sam.
Komurasaki.
Yes. That's a good one for today. Ed.
Shogun Orochi.
Yes. Who the Shogun was mentioned, but Orochi
when I asked
don't think was.
about characters we haven't seen.
Yeah.
We saw his head.
We saw his head, yeah.
But have we really?
Right, I'd say we won't know if that answer is correct until the next time he comes back.
Disqualified.
We'll retroactively disqualify Ed if necessary. Steven.
Tenguyama Hitetsu.
Wow, you remembered the whole name. Yes. Wherever he is, yes, I know that is correct. Who's next here? Brian.
My lady Speed.
Your lady? When did she become your lady?
Speed cracks me up so much. That's that horse face. It cracks me up.
That sounds like something the president would say. Alex.
Dobon.
Yes. Sam.
Batman.
Yeah, of course.
Did someone say my name?
Battleman.
Get away, Bruce Wayne. Sorry, Sam.
I just
He
went.
said,
You just went.
Oh, that was Sam. Hey, I'm sorry, Ed. Losing my brain
Old Man
today.
Hyo.
Yeah, who was not on this list, but that is definitely right. Probably just because that just happened. Steven.
hold him.
Yeah. Where do you hold him? Does he know when to hold him? That's the question.
When to fold.
Steven.
I just.
Oh, wow! I am
Are you
losing
okay,
my brain.
Zach?
No, I obviously had a stroke in the middle of this podcast and forgot to
You
call on
smell
Alex. Okay.
Um,
Yeah, go ahead. Brian.
It's my turn.
Yeah, I said I was just talking about Alex. Go ahead, Brian.
It's Bingo.
That was his name, yes. That wasn't on Wiki, so I had to add that. Alex, go ahead.
Kaku.
Oh yeah, there was the other Kaku. Good one. Sam, who has not gone yet.
Okiku.
Yes. Where are you, Kiku? Kiku. There. Ed.
Kyoshiro.
Yes. Steven.
Udashima.
Yes. Brian.
Sutamaru.
Yes. Where's Urashima? How's it spelled again? With a U?
With a
Oh, there
U,
he is. Yeah. It's in a very weird order. So Brian just went Alex.
Gazelle Man.
Yeah. How could you forget that? Sam.
King.
Yes. Ed.
Queen.
Stephen.
Suke.
Yep. That was the second. Brian.
God, I am blanking.
It sounds like it.
Oh,
3
Mouse
seconds.
Mouse Man.
Yep.
Fuck.
I think
Oh,
he's.
That's a good one.
I think he's the last man.
Damn it.
As far as I have here, Alex.
Damn it. Okay. Shit.
3 seconds.
Damn it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sam.
Couldn't remember the third guy.
Shoot. Yeah, I don't know the third guy.
3 seconds.
Who else would have been there?
Ed.
Well, we said Toko, but no one said Toki.
Correct. Steven.
Oh,
New round.
interesting.
Kuni is the other.
That is. That's
good
the third
short
one.
family.
Brian.
Hiyori.
Yeah, where is he there?
Now.
Kumachio.
Ed. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Steven.
The Ralph Camacho line.
You're from the Komachio family.
Yes. Hitokiri Kamazo.
Wow. Okay. Where is there he is. Forgot that was Hitokiri at the beginning. Brian.
Shot in the Dark. Jiro? Is that one? Is that from this arc? Is that a person?
That's a kind of.
I don't remember.
I don't know if I should give it to you. Let me just find the person. Oh, can you name who Jiro is part of the name? Can you name who you're thinking of? Like describe
Oh God.
who you were thinking of?
No, because I'm like my head's all mixed up with a character from like.
Yeah, you don't know
Because
who
there's
you're
also
talking about.
there's
Yeah.
like a Jiro who showed up at Big Mom's wedding, and I'm all fucked up. I
No,
don't get it.
no. So Steven's still in. Ed, to stay in, you need to get this.
She's not a shinobi. She's a shinobu.
Oh, that's a good one.
Nice.
Yeah.
God.
Steven, to stay in, you need this.
There's Ushimitsu Kozo.
Yeah, I saw him
Boy,
earlier. Where is he?
Strikes at the hour of the bull.
Where is he? I definitely saw him before. Anyway, I know he's there. Unless he's been said. Maybe he wasn't written down. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna give it to you anyway. I don't know why. Ed.
Sure.
There's, I think, like 3 more I have written. I'm sorry, 5 more I have written down.
Wow.
There's some really like minor ass characters.
And I don't know. Whoever that guy in the cage with the fishbone is. I don't know.
It has not been named yet, as far as we know.
Whatever.
All right, so Steven is our winner of Taiyaki this week. Also, please tell me if you have mentioned these already, because I am losing my brain today, clearly. Sukiyaki, the former shogun.
Yeah. I forgot about that one.
We also have Kawamatsu, who...
and Denjiro. There's also a Hihimaru, the baboon.
Right, the baboon. Good.
I
you
forgot about the baboons. And the dog, yeah.
Jimboimon, who was one of the, I think, groveling guys with I don't know what he was, but he's there. Garobe, who was like a passed out old man in the town, the leftovers town, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And the Jiro is Kamijiro, who was the lion on Holden.
God.
If you had described him, I would have given that to you. But you clearly did not know that. Yeah,
I was not thinking about
that. Did Doban's hippo have a name?
No. Unfortunately not. So that's going to do it for the One Piece podcast. Yeah, gone before you ever got to see the light. Yeah, so this has been some year in One Piece, and for the One Piece podcast, next year is our 10th year, believe it or not. We started in 2009, and next year is 2019. So we'll be talking a little bit more about what we're going to be doing for that on our season premiere, and that is on Sunday, January 6th. Again, Sunday, January 6th. In the meanwhile, please enjoy our Dressrosa read-through. That's going to return on Monday the 31st. So until next year, everyone, my name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Alex.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
So long.
New Year's.